This is Bob Wolf with Wade Hoyt welcoming you to the fourth World Series game of 1961. Brought to you by
Chrysler Corporation, where engineering puts something extra into every car. Chrysler Corporation, with the live new cars for 62.
And Gillette, maker of the 195 adjustable razor, and the remarkable Super Blue Blade that gives all but unbelievable shaving comfort. Foamy, the cream of all instant lathers. And Right Guard, the new power spray deodorant for men.
We're here in Crosley Field, Cincinnati, for the fourth game in this 1961 World Series. The weather is perfect once again, sunny and bright with the temperature in the high 70s. The big question today is, can the Cincinnati Reds top Whitey Ford? The Reds, playing on their home grounds, Crosley Field in Cincinnati, now trailed 2-1 to the New York Yankees. And this afternoon, they come up against the standout pitcher of this past season, Whitey Ford, who won 25 games this past season for New York, while losing but 4. Whitey Ford, who has already shut the Reds out once in this series, and including last year's series against Pittsburgh, has now pitched 3 series shutouts in a row. This is the fellow the Reds will have to top, or else the Yankees will boast a 3-1 margin in this best-of-7 series. And to make today's drama even greater, make note of this. Ford is just 2 2/3 innings away from tying the World Series record that has been in the book for 43 years. A record set by Babe Ruth, not as a slugger, but as a pitcher. The Babe's record of 29 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings pitched when the Babe was a left-handed pitching star for the Boston Red Sox. Ford's opponent today, Jim O'Toole, a 19-game regular season winner. The young left-hander who gave the Yankee ace such a fine battle in the opening game of the series in New York. The Yankees took that game 2-0, with both Yankee runs being home runs. One by Howard, one by Skowron. In fact, home runs have been the big factor in the Yankee offense so far in this series. The Yankees have scored but 7 runs total, yet have won 2 out of 3 games, despite being outscored by Cincinnati in total runs. And of those 7 runs, all the New York runs except 1 have been the result of home runs. Yesterday it was Roger Maris who provided the winning blow for the Yankees with his first hit of the series, a home run into the right field seats. Earlier, New York pinch hitter Johnny Blanchard, with 4 pinch hit homers during the regular season, pinch hit his first World Series home run to tie the game for New York. The Yankees altogether have 5 home runs in this series to 1 for Cincinnati. The Reds fans may find encouragement in this statistic involving Whitey Ford. Whitey has won 8 World Series games, more than any other pitcher. However, 7 of his 8 series victories came at Yankee Stadium. On the road in series play, his record shows 1 win and 4 defeats. And there's one other note regarding Ford that bears watching. On the train ride that the Yankees made from New York to Cincinnati, Whitey came up with a stiff neck. Whitey poo-poos the idea that it will hinder his effectiveness on the mound. And he told me this morning that he felt fine once again. Mantle is feeling considerably better today and put on such an impressive power display in batting practice that he was applauded by the crowd. And on the Cincinnati side, catcher Darrell Johnson, who's been sidelined with a pulled side muscle, is swinging that bat all right again. And he is back in the lineup. And speaking of the lineups, let's take a look at them right now. For the New York Yankees, at second base, leading off, it's Bobby Richardson. Batting second and playing shortstop, Tony Kubek. Batting third, playing right field, Roger Maris. Batting fourth, playing center field, Mickey Mantle. The number 5 hitter doing the catching, Elston Howard. Batting sixth and playing left field, Yogi Berra. Batting seventh and playing first base, Bill Skowron. Batting eighth and playing third base, Cleet Boyer. And batting ninth and pitching, Whitey Ford. Now for the Cincinnati Reds, leading off and playing second base, Elio Chacon. Batting second and playing shortstop, Eddie Casco. Batting third and playing center field, Veda Pinson. Batting fourth and playing right field, Frank Robinson. Batting fifth and playing left field, Wally Post. Batting sixth, playing third base, Gene Freese. Hitting in the seventh spot, playing first base, Gordy Coleman. The catcher, batting eighth, Darrell Johnson. And the pitcher, batting ninth, Jim O'Toole. Mantle, by the way, is also shooting for a Ruth mark. The Babe hit 15 home runs during World Series play. Mantle now has 14. Chrysler has been asked to bring you the following public service message. Communism is waging a constant propaganda assault against the free world. For 11 years, the voice of Radio Free Europe has been America's answer. America's way of bringing the truth to the people behind the Iron Curtain. But Radio Free Europe needs contributions from you in order to continue. Send your truth dollars to Radio Free Europe Fund, Box 1962, Mount Vernon, New York. Support Radio Free Europe, the American people's counter voice to communism. And now the rival managers, Ralph Houk, Freddie Hutchinson, have come out along with the umpires. Augie Donatelli will be at the plate of the National League, Ed Runge of the American League at first, Jocko Conlon of the National League at second, Frank Umont of the American League at third, with Bob Stewart of the American League and Chad Crawford of the National League taking a close look at those foul lines. The dimensions of Crosley Field are worth repeating now as the umpires and the managers go over the starting lineups, because the dimensions may have a decided effect on the play. We saw a good example of that yesterday as pinch hitter Leo Cardenas hit a long drive high up against the scoreboard in left center. The 55-foot scoreboard towers well above the wall, and had the Cardenas drive been over more toward center, it would have been out of the park for a homer to tie the game instead of a two-base hit. It's 328 on the left field line, and starting about 25 feet from the wall, there's an incline rising gradually about 6 feet high. And this is referred to in Cincinnati as the terrace. The wall itself is cement, and it rises 18 feet high. And outfielders have to cope with the sun field, the embankment, and darting rebounds off the wall. And there's a high screen atop the wall. A ball hit into the screen is a home run. The large scoreboard is in left center, and any ball off it is in play. And now the national anthem, sung by Mary O'Brien and Selden Reed. This 1961 World Series is being brought to you from Crosley Field in Cincinnati.
What's the word on the new cars from Chrysler Corporation? What's the word you hear? Simplicity.
And they're simply beautiful.
Looks like it's gonna be a Chrysler year.
Listen for the good word from Chrysler Corporation. During the next few innings, you're going to hear some good news about the live new cars for 62. And you're going to hear how you can win one absolutely free 180 new cars are being offered as prizes during October Open House. An open invitation to see the new cars with the excitement of simplicity. That's the word on October Open House. And the word for the cars?
Simplicity.
And they're simply beautiful.
Looks like there's gonna be a Chrysler year.
Stay tuned for all the details on the cars and October Open House.
This is WGY, WGFM, Schenectady.
There's also a slight embankment in center and right, as well as the embankment in left field. The first ball has just been thrown out from Commissioner Ford Frick's box by Bill McKechnie, who managed the 1939 and 1940 Red Pennant winners. And he appeared to have that fine arm still going as he whipped one out. So the opening ceremonies have just been about concluded now. Whitey Ford still continues his warm-up. O'Toole has concluded his. Incidentally, the pitches for tomorrow have been announced. Jay against Cherry. And the Reds are now taking the field. Today, by the way, is the birthday of Wally Moses, the Yankees' first base coach. He's 51. Frankie Crosetti, the third base coach, celebrated his same birthday, 51, on the first game of the series. Bud Daly, who pitched yesterday for New York, was 28. Well, speaking about birthdays, it's certainly a treat for me to bring you the mic one of the greats in baseball. Now going great as a broadcaster, the voice of the Cincinnati Reds, Wade Hoyt.
76 degrees.
Thank you, Bob Wolf, and how do you do, everyone? The temperature here at Crosley Field and in Cincinnati is a pleasant 76 degrees. There's not a cloud in the sky, rather warm, and another beautiful, wonderful day for baseball. Another great World Series in progress between two really fine teams. The first batter for the New York Yankees will be Bobby Richardson. Bobby Richardson, who is the leading batter in the series so far, with his batting average of .417, .417. He has 5 hits and 12 turns at the plate. He hit well last year. He has been hitting well this year in the World Series. And in the season of 1961, he led the American League in the number of hits made with 173. So we're waiting for Bobby to step in. O'Toole, the youngster who pitched such a fine but futile ball game in the first game for the Reds. Excuse me there was a statistical error there. Richardson did not lead the American League in hits. He was 5th in the most number of hits. He led the Yankees in the most number of hits made. But O'Toole is pitching for the Reds, who pitched a beautiful ball game only to lose to a master left-hander in that first game, Whitey Ford. Richardson up there now. He has no home runs or runs batted in this series, but he has the only stolen base so far in the series. Batting right-handed against O'Toole. Freeze, the third baseman's playing him in front of third. Casco has shifted over toward left field a bit at shortstop. Chacon, the second baseman, over toward second. The first pitch of the ball game is made for strike one. A called strike right in there. Coleman, the Cincinnati first baseman, is playing a normal first. Wally Post in left field is at the base of what they call the terrace here, which is the incline, which rises to a slope of about 7 feet. Another pitch now to Richardson. Richardson hit a foul ball down into the right field sector of the grandstand. No balls, 2 strikes. Veda Pinson, the center fielder, is playing in a dead line from the home plate, and Robinson is playing a rather shallow right field. The home plate umpires, Augie Donatelli of the National League, Ed Runge of the American League at first, Jocko Conlon of the National League at second, Frank Umont of the American League at third. O'Toole is pitching again. The young left-hander throws. There's a ball hit in the air out to the center fielder, and Pinson is waiting for it. Has it, and Richardson is up and out. 1 away for the Yankees in the first inning. This will bring up Tony Kubek, the very fine shortstop of the New York Yankees. In this series so far, he's been to the plate 11 times with 2 hits. He's batting .182. No homers, no runs batted in. He's a left-handed batter. During the season, he batted .278 with 8 homers and 46 runs batted in. He was second in 2 base hits with 38 during the season. Batting left-handed, takes the bat right on the end, stands in the center of the batter's box. The pitch to him is called a strike. That's a fastball in there on Quebec. A ball's and a strike. O'Toole bends forward, taking signals. Winding again, pitching. Strike 2. He got the next one over. No balls and 2 strikes. As I said during yesterday's game, they are putting a super highway about 50 feet beyond the center field wall. There are all sorts of construction equipment, of motor equipment over there, including trains, tractors, and everything, cranes, tractors, and everything else. And they're loaded with spectators. The pitch now to Quebec, a little off the plate outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So they have quite a complement of fans across the street up in a little hillock over there. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Tony now. O'Toole comes up once, fires, strike 3. He struck him out with a curved ball. So this brings up Roger Maris, the great home run hitter of the New York Yankees, who hit 61 home runs to set a new league record new world's record for that matter. And I won't say a world's record, a major league record during the season. And who won the game yesterday for the New York Yankees. He has the 11 times at bat with 1 hit. The 1 hit won the game yesterday. He has a batting average during the series of 0.91. He has 1 home run, 1 run batted in. But oh, what an important one. There's a pop foul back here toward the Reds bench, and Darrell Johnson under it caught it, and Maris has fouled out to Darrell Johnson. So, at the end of the first half inning, the score is the New York Yankees 0, the Cincinnati Reds coming to bat in the last of the first.
What's the good word? Valiant for 1962. Style and performance leader of the compacts all over again. In Get Up and Go, Valiant is way out ahead of all other low-price compacts. For 62, performance is up as much as 6%, with more improvement in gas economy, too. In ride and handling, nobody beats Valiant. With Torsionaire ride and new, quieter engine mounts, Valiant takes roads like a limousine, but still keeps the cornering and handling ease of a compact. Expensive? Not on your life. Valiant is priced several $100s less than many other compacts. Nobody beats Valiant for value. Valiant from Chrysler Corporation.
Looks like it's gonna be a Chrysler year.
See your Valiant dealer during October open house.
In the first half inning, the New York Yankees did not put a man to base. 3 up, 3 down. And now the Cincinnati Reds come to bat. Elio Chacon is the batter. A little fellow who went in the ball game in New York when Blasingame hurt his index finger, and since then has produced two base hits and 7 turns at bat for a batting average of .286. He has scored 2 runs, played a bang-up game at second base for the Reds, and during the season he batted .265 with 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. But he was in and out of the ball game all season long. He didn't play so regular, but when he did, he played very well. And he is from Caracas, Venezuela. And he sort of caught the fancy of the Cincinnati people here, and even the Yankee fans that are down in the grandstand. The young man has played fine ball. So he's batting right-handed against the master, Whitey Ford, out there, who has pitched 3 consecutive shutouts in World Series play. 2 last year against the Pirates, and 1 in the opening game of this series against the Reds. And he's 2 or 3 innings away from different records. 1 held by Matheson and 1 held by Babe Ruth. As Whitey Ford now pitching to Chacon. That's a high pitch, ball 1. In this series, Ford, of course, has pitched 9 innings, allowing no runs and 2 hits. Eddie Casco and Wally Post were the only Cincinnati batters to find Ford for safe hits. Chacon took a hard cut and he missed. Strike 1. He went after that one with all his power. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. 1-1, they play Chacon a little bit left field. They shift to the left on him with Boyer on a line from third base at third base. Another pitch to Chacon, a strike 2 over the outside edge. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Quebec, the shortstop, is playing a natural shortstop. I say normal. He's not shifted one way or the other. And neither is Richardson, the second baseman. And, however, Skowron, the first baseman, is off the bag quite some. Strike 3 and Chacon is called out on a fastball, which rather disappointed him, as he probably believed the pitch was inside. He reluctantly left the plate and called out on strikes. Eddie Casco is up now. Casco, in this series so far, has been to the plate 13 times with 4 hits, batting .308. He had one of the 2 hits off Whitey Ford in the opening game. Casco has batted in 1 run in this series so far, as the pitch made to him now by Ford is high outside, ball 1. During the season, Casco batted .271 with 2 homers and 27 runs batted in. Batting right-handed, he spreads his feet considerably, stands a little to the rear of the plate. He's not a long swinger. The Yankees are playing him straight away. The pitch to Casco, he tried to jab a bunt, but he didn't make contact, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. Beautiful day, beautiful World Series weather. This is the bottom of the first inning, 1 out, and there's no score in the game so far. Ford taking his signs. Now he's ready. Comes up once. He pitches. Casco raised a high fly ball in short right center. Maris is on the run coming in. Richardson is going up. Maris caught the ball. Maris caught it right behind Richardson in short right center field. 2 away for the Reds in the bottom of the first inning. There is no score so far. As a matter of fact, no batters have reached base so far. Veda Pinson up now. Pinson has been to the plate 13 times with 1 hit in this series. During this season, he batted .343 with 16 homers and 87 runs batted in. Veda's the kind of a fellow, if he singles and the outfielders make a slight hesitation on the ball, he'll try for 2 bases. There's a ball hit on a line in the center. Mantle picked it off out there in center field, and Pinson is out. And in the bottom of the first inning, Cincinnati, no runs, no hits, no one to base. And so at the end of the first inning, the score is the New York Yankees nothing, the Cincinnati Reds nothing.
What's the word on the new cars from Chrysler Corporation? What's the word you hear?
Valiant, this year featuring the new Signet 200, America's lowest priced hardtop with bucket seats. The bucket seats are king-sized, set in a new choice of interiors that are as rugged as they are sporty-looking, right down to the deep pile carpeting. And unlike most low-price compacts, Valiant for $62 offers a full 3-speed automatic transmission. With its performance, comfort, and economy features, plus top resale value, nobody beats Valiant for value in 1962. Valiant from Chrysler Corporation.
Looks like it's gonna be a Chrysler year.
See your Valiant dealer during October open house.
You know, here in Cincinnati, a carnival atmosphere has pervaded this town since, way back in July, and has persisted right through the World Series now. There are 5 bands playing in the grandstand downstairs, sort of, I said yesterday, sort of roving troubadours, you might say, entertaining the spectators at different points throughout the grandstand. And they've certainly put it on as the little Queen City here along the Ohio River awakened in all its glory for this World Series. They really, they have everything down there, everything but a calliope, you might say. And used to have a boat here, you know, and with a calliope on it. But now there's Mickey Mantle to think of down there at the home plate. The great Mickey Mantle, who's been injured the first 2 games of the series, came back yesterday. He's been 4 times at bat, no hits. During the season, of course, batted .317, 128 runs batted in with 54 homers. Now the pitch to Mickey by O'Toole. He batted a ball on the ground. Freeze went off to his left, fielded the ball, the throw to first, and Mantle is out at first. He doesn't run very well. The hip, he had an abscessed hip, you know, and he isn't running well. And, of course, he can fly. He's a really great runner. Freeze threw him out. 1 away for the Yankees in the top of the second inning. There is no score in the game so far. A 0-0 ball game. And this brings up Elston Howard, who hit 1 home run off O'Toole in the first game into the right field seats. He has had 2 hits and 11 turns at bat, batting .182 for the series. During the season, he batted .348, second in the league. The pitch to Howard, high, ball 1. Howard, of course, is from Teaneck, New Jersey. He was born in Teaneck, born in St. Louis, now lives in Teaneck. As the pitch to him is low by O'Toole. 2 balls, no strikes, 2-0. So there's one out on the top of the second. No score in the game so far. 0-0 ball game. Howard has one home run, 1 run batted in, a batting average of 182 for the series. The pitch to him is over the plate, strike 1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2-1. They play Howard deep in the infield and more or less straight away in the outfield. The only fellow who has shifted much is Post, the left fielder, who's moved away from the foul line in left field over toward left center. O'Toole bends forward, bends over from the waist, taking his sign, as most pitchers do nowadays. And O'Toole is in action. He let fly with the next one. That's a foul ball rolling over to the Reds dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Howard tried to lay off that one as the pitch was low inside by his knees. And it was only a quarter swing, but the bat sort of flew around and hit the ball. The press box enunciating system you hear above us is just announced that Joey J will pitch for the Reds tomorrow against Ralph Terry of the Yankees. O'Toole is in action again. Here he comes. The pitch made. There's a strikeout as he got him with a slider on the inside edge. Howard had a full cut at the pitch and he missed. That's O'Toole's second strikeout. So Yogi Berra is coming up. Yogi Berra, the Squire of Montclair, New Jersey, is at the plate. Yogi in this series is batting .333. He's been to the plate 9 times with 3 hits. Has 1 homer, 3 runs batted in. The pitch to Yogi. Taken outside. Ball 1. Score 0-0. Neither team has had a score. Neither team has made a hit. O'Toole watching. The Reds have moved slightly to the right, especially in the infield. Chacon, the second baseman, have moved back into the outfield. The throw to Berra now. There's a fly ball out in right field. Robinson cutting in diagonally to the line. Came in, made the catch, and Berra is the third out in the top of the second inning. The Yankees in the first 2 innings did not score. And so at the end of an inning and a half, the score is the New York Yankees 0, the Cincinnati Reds 0.
Say, how lucky do you feel right now? Well, you may be luckier than you think. Chrysler Corporation is offering 180 brand new cars free during October open house, and one of them may be yours. It's an open invitation to see the new cars and sign up to win one. If you own a car, any make or model, any year, you could be one of the lucky winners. To qualify, all you have to do is come in and register with any authorized dealer who sells Plymouth, Valiant, Dodge, Lancer, Chrysler, or Imperial. That's all there is to it, but remember, you have to register by October 31st. Visit your dealer during October open house. Why not tonight? You may win a brand new 62 car from Chrysler Corporation. Free car offer void in Nebraska, Wisconsin, Florida, Canada, and wherever else prohibited by law.
Well, good pitching has predominated in this series. And now we go into the bottom of the second inning. It will be Robinson up there now. Robinson has had a bit of a time getting started in this series. Has been to the plate 10 times with 1 hit. He has 1 run batted in, no homers, batting an even 100. During the season, Robinson batted .323. He was second in home runs in the National League with 37. He was second in runs batted in with 124. He was second in 2 base hits with 33. He was second in stolen bases with 21. The pitch to Robinson is a curveball on the inside edge, strike 1. Score is 0-0. No runs, no hits for either team so far. As Whitey Ford working again, he pitches. Robinson took it high. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. 1-1 on Robinson. They play him deep to the left. The Yankees way back. Third baseman Clete Boyer playing a very deep third. Robinson took the curve low. 2 balls and a strike, 2-1. The Yankees are playing Robinson deep to the left. Yogi Berra is at the base of the terrace in left field with Ford now working. Robinson missed, and that's strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2-2. Once again, may I explain to the fans that here in Crosley Field, the field itself rises slightly. I'd say to the height of about 7 feet, a gradual slope out all around the outfield. They call that section the terrace. Whitey Ford pitches again. Robinson hit a ball to Clete Boyer at third, who grabbed it, threw to first. Robinson out at first, and there's one away for the Reds in the second inning. Now, may I say that ties a record made by a National League pitcher, not an American League pitcher, a National League pitcher, Christy Mathewson, who in the combined years of 1905 and 1911 pitched 28 and a third innings of consecutive scoreless innings in total World Series play. But Babe Ruth holds the overall record of 29 and two-thirds. The batter is Wally Post. He pitched to Wally. Wally took a curve in there. Strike one call. Now, Wally's been to the plate 11 times this World Series with 3 hits. He's batting .273, no home runs, no runs batted in, and he has 1 2-base hit. In the season, he batted .294 with 20 homers, 57 runs batted in. Post took a high fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. So as they played Robinson, they so played Post. Deep in the infield, way back, Boyer way back. No score in the game so far. 0-0 for each team. Another throw to Post now. Post took a low curve, and that's 2 balls and a strike, 2-1. The right fielder, Roger Maris, gives Post pretty much of the right field line, as the expression goes. Behind Skowron, the first baseman, it's wide open territory down there as Maris is playing Post in right center. Mantle, the center fielder, shifted over a trifle to left center. So Whitey Ford sort of shrugs his shoulders out there, now goes to work. He pitches. Post grounded a foul down there, which Boyer, the third baseman, stopped outside the line. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ford today is supposed to be pitching with a slight stiffness in his neck, and he complained about a little soreness in his neck. 2-2. Ford is taking a sign from Elston Howard. He's winding, pitching. There's a slow one hit in the air out there in left center, and Yogi Berra is shading his eyes, has it. Post is the second out on the bottom of the second, and still there is no score. 0-0, and this will bring up Gene Freese. Freese has been hitless in the series so far. He's been to the plate 8 times with no hits. During the season, Freese batted .277 with 26 home runs and 87 runs batted in. Strangely, Freese at the plate and Coleman, who follows him, had exact totals in homers and runs batted in during the season. 26 homers apiece, 87 runs batted in apiece. The throw to Freese now. He drove one out in right field, and Maris is moving up the terrace, made the catch, and the Reds are out in the bottom of the second inning. In the second inning, the Cincinnati Reds, no one to base. And so, at the end of 2 innings, the score is the New York Yankees 0, the Cincinnati Reds 0.
What's the word on the new cars from Chrysler Corporation? What's the word you hear?
Plymouth. That's the word today. Plymouth. The beautiful difference in the low price field. It's full size, right size, and completely new for $62. Plymouth's forward flare design is simplicity itself. From the long tapered hood to the sloping rear deck. Inside, some of the richest fabrics and most beautiful appointments ever to grace a low-priced car. Look at Plymouth now, one of the live new cars from Chrysler Corporation. What's the word for Plymouth?
Simplicity.
And they're simply beautiful.
Looks like it's gonna be a Chrysler year.
See your Plymouth dealer during October open house.
Bill Skowron will lead off in the third inning for the Yankees. Skowron is batting .111. He's been to the plate 9 times with 1 hit, and yet that 1 hit was that was a home run that he hit in the first game of the series. And that was off O'Toole. He's had 1 home run and 1 run batted in.
We'll go into clubhouse game again to take notes regarding the various questions. Shortly afterwards, we'll send a report back over to
So Bill Skowron is at the of Hillsdale on in Chicago. Batting right-handed. A 0-0 ball game going into the top of the third inning here in the fourth World Series game. This is Wade Hoyt along with Bob Wolf. The pitch to Skowron by O'Toole is high inside. Ball one. And the Cincinnati Reds are playing Skowron as the left field hitter, more or less. Robinson hasn't shifted so much in right field as Skowron does hit to any field. As O'Toole working again, pitches, and that's strike one. So Skowron swung and missed. Freeze is playing him a deep third. Casco, fairly deep short. Chacon has moved over towards second. He's the second baseman. And, I'd say Coleman playing a normal first base. The left fielder Post is up on the terrace. The throw now to Skowron is a low pitch inside. That's 2 balls and a strike. And Pinson is playing a little left center up on the terrace in center field. The distance is to the fences once again. If you tuned in a little late, down the left field line, 328. Down the right field line, 366. In left center, 2 distances. Another pitch to Skowron. Skowron took it in there. That's strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. To the left of the scoreboard in left center, it's 378 to the base of the fence. To the right of the scoreboard, 383. To the right of second base on the center field fence, where the right field bleacher fence joins the center field fence, 390 feet, and strangely in right center, 360. The right center distance is less than the actual right field foul line, which is 366. 2 balls, 2 strikes. O'Toole pitches. There's a foul. That's up on the roof over there to the right. To give you a little picture of what Crosley Field is like during a World Series, during the season, there is no one allowed on the roof of the grandstand. Today, the roof is populated by different types of movie cameras, news cameras, reporters, cameramen, pressmen of all descriptions, and most of them standing. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2-2. O'Toole has taken the sign from Darrell Johnson. O'Toole winds, he pitches, that's inside, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 3-2. No score in this game so far, a 0-0 ball game. O'Toole stepped off the rubber, and he's just massaging the baseball a little bit. 3-2 count. And you can hear Casco yelling from here, and he's the shortstop. Now the pitch made. There's the curve inside, and that's the first Yankee base runner. That was Skowron, who bats 8th in the lineup. Now comes Boyer. Skowron bats 7th in the lineup. Here comes Boyer, who bats 8th in the lineup. A right-handed batter. He's been to the plate 8 times in this series with 1 hit. He's batting 125, no home runs, no runs batted in. In the first game that O'Toole pitched, the opening game of the series, he had 1 single off O'Toole, one of the 6 hits the Yankees made off O'Toole. Boyer, during the season, batted 225, 11 homers, 55 runs batted in. So Skowron is on first. There's no one out. In the top of the third inning here at Crosley Field, this 4th game of the World Series, the score 0-0. As O'Toole now lets loose on Boyer. He missed the ball. Strike 1. No balls and a strike. So O'Toole watches the man on first base, ready to pitch. He does. Ball is hit down at Casco, who shoveled it off to Chacon. 1 out. There's a bad little high throw to first base, and the double play was not consummated. However, just a force out of Skowron at second base, Casco to Chacon. This will bring up the pitcher, Whitey Ford. Ford coming out of the Yankee bench. He'll get a nice hand coming to the plate. He's been a great pitcher. Whitey Ford batting left-handed against O'Toole now. Whitey, during the season, won 25 games. He lost 4. And, of course, in this series, has won 1 and lost none. As they ready to pitch to him, Freeze suspects a bunt. He's charging in. The pitch is made. It's not good. It's low outside. Ball 1. So the Reds suspect that Ford is up there to sacrifice. And Coleman and Freeze, the first baseman and third baseman, come charging in. Casco cuts over to cover at second, and Chacon is ready to cut over to first. The outfield is playing a very shallow outfield. Very, very, very shallow, as a matter of fact. As O'Toole ready to go now. Here it comes. The pitch made. Bounced down to Chacon, who snapped it to second. One out there at second base as Boyer was forced, but Chacon's throw to Casco was so low that Casco, running to the bag, had to make a backhanded low catch. And that, of course, then eliminated the possibility of a DP. However, there are 2 away for the Yankees. In the top of the third inning, the score still is 0-0. And New York, no runs, no hits. The Reds, no runs, no hits. Whitey Ford on first base. The batter is Bobby Richardson. And Whitey Ford wanted to exchange his helmet for his regular cloth baseball cap. Bobby Richardson up. He flied out to Pinson in the first inning. Richardson has been to the plate 13 times in this series with 5 hits. He started the game batting .417. The right-handed batter, very wide across the shoulders. And chunky little fellow, good strength. The pitch to him, he took a high fastball, ball 1. This is the top of the third inning. There's no score so far, 0-0. Coleman is playing off the first base bag a little bit behind Ford. Ford is not taking much of a lead with O'Toole ready. He pitches. That's inside. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Two or nothing. No score so far in the game. A 0-0 game. O'Toole is bending forward, and Johnson down, giving the signals, holding a low target. Holds a steady target right down low above the knees of the batter. O'Toole concentrates. He pitches. There's a line drive base hit. That's the first hit of the game. Post is going up the terrace. It got by him. He played it off the wall. He throws back to second base, and it's a double for Richardson. The first hit of the ball game went to the Yankees, and there was a 2-base hit, putting Whitey Ford on third, Richardson himself on second. The score is still 0-0. Bringing up Tony Kubek. Kubek struck out in the first inning. So the Yankees have men in an advantageous position at second and third with 2 away in the third inning. As O'Toole now will take a windup. Here he comes. The pitch made. There's a ball hit in the air out in center, and Pinson is going into left center. It's a high one. Pinson under it, has it, and Kubek is out, and the Yankees are out in the third inning. In the third inning, the New York Yankees, no runs, 1 hit, 2 men left on, and so at the end of 2.5 innings, the score is the New York Yankees 0, the Cincinnati Reds 0.
If you haven't seen Plymouth for 62, you're in for quite a surprise. It's completely new for 62, and it's full size, right size. Acceleration is up as much as 11%, but gas consumption is down because the engine doesn't drag around excess weight. Easier maintenance, too. Plymouth goes 32,000 miles between grease jobs, goes twice as far between oil changes as it did last year, can go years without waxing. And Plymouth's new brakes are self-adjusting. Look at Plymouth now, the beautiful difference in the low-price field. One of Chrysler Corporation's live new cars for 62.
And they're simply beautiful.
Looks like it's gonna be a Chrysler year.
See your Plymouth dealer during October open house.
This is WGY, WGFM Schenectady.
But they give you a floor show. Down in the aisles down there, a couple of ladies were giving a little, I don't know who the choreographer is for the Cincinnati Reds. They were giving a little Charleston down there. I think the choreographer, well, I don't know just who. I think his name is Bonnie Rapp. I'm not sure, but he has 5 bands going here today, all Cincinnati bands, and they really put it on here in Cincinnati. There's no doubt about that. All right, Gordy Coleman up there now. Coleman, batting left-handed, has been to the plate 12 times with 4 hits. He's batting .333. He's the leading Cincinnati batter in the series so far. That is among the regulars. And During the season, he batted .287 with 26 homers, 87 runs batted in. In the series so far, he has 1 home run and 4 runs batted in. As Whitey Ford pitches to Coleman, there's a high pitch inside that got away from Whitey. It's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Coleman at the plate. This could be a history-making inning, this inning. If Ford shuts the Reds out in this inning, he will establish a World Series record. Ford working again now, ready to pitch. He does. There's a ball grounded. A 2-bouncer down to the second baseman who fielded the ball and threw Coleman out at first. 1 up, 1 away for the Reds in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The score is 0-0. The New York Yankees, no runs and 1 hit. The Cincinnati Reds, no runs and no hits. 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd. Darrell Johnson is the batter. Johnson, batting right-handed. He's been up to the plate twice in this series. He's had no hits, and of course he's had no runs batted in. So Whitey Ford taking the sign from Elston Howard. They played Johnson slightly left field with Ford in action now as he pitched to Johnson over the plate. Strike 1. Of course, Johnson used to warm Ford up a few years ago. Johnson was the bullpen catcher for the Yankees a few years ago. And Ford working again, throws. There's a high curve, and that's 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. Of course, Ford relies on a great many things. He's got a world of stuff of different assortments: slider, curveball, fastball, change of pace. He pitched to Johnson now. He laid out in left field, and he dropped it in there for a single. A base hit for Johnson. That's the first Cincinnati hit, the first Cincinnati batter. And that came with 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd. First Cincinnati batter to reach base. That came with 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. O'Toole will come up now. And once again, the bugler here, as the Duke plays charge. So O'Toole is coming to the plate. No score in the game, a 0-0 ball game. Both teams are fighting for the break. Both teams are anxiously waiting for the open door here, you might say. O'Toole is taking a couple of practice swings outside the batter's box. The 3rd baseman Boyer is playing in now, much in the same manner that Freese played in when Ford was at the plate in that last inning. 1 out now. So Ford ready to pitch to O'Toole. Hesitates, throws. There's a foul bunt that rolled to the backstop. Strike 1. And they score 0-0. 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. No balls and a strike on O'Toole. He's still up there, batting right-handed. You know, earlier this season, he started out as a left-handed batter. He switched. The pitch is to first base, throw is to first. And, of course, Ford has a great pick-off motion, and it darn near fooled Skowron that time, who started in for the plate on the bunt and had to quickly backtrack to get the throw from Ford. No balls, 1 strike. Now the throw to O'Toole. O'Toole bounced the ball down to the shortstop. Slowly the throw is to second base, and Johnson is forced at second base. Quebec to Richardson. And O'Toole is on first base. It was a slow hit ball, and there was no possibility whatsoever of a double play. So O'Toole is on first base, 2 out, the bottom of the 3rd. No score in the game so far, a 0-0 ball game, and Chacon will be the batter after they change the helmet for a cap down there for O'Toole. 2 away for the Reds. O'Toole on first. Chacon up. He took the 3rd strike in the 1st inning. So Elio up there again. And the Yankees are playing him straight away, if anything. Whitey Ford pitches. O'Toole took Chacon took a high curveball for ball 1 as O'Toole quickly got back to the bag. Howard gave him a look down there, but O'Toole wasn't too far off it. Ford works again. Chacon hit a squiver, a ground ball down to the second baseman. Richardson fielded the ball and threw Chacon out at first. And that sets a world record, a major league record for World Series pitching, which we will tell you about, because this is the end of the 3rd inning, and the score is the New York Yankees 0 and the Cincinnati Reds 0.
You know, the only thing more exciting than the World Series is your first look at the new cars. And this year, Chrysler Corporation makes it more exciting than ever. 180 brand new cars are offered free during October open house. One of them could be yours. 30 Imperials, 30 Chryslers, 30 Dodge Darts, 30 Lancers, 30 Plymouths, and 30 Valiants. If you own a car, any make or model, any year, all you have to do to qualify is stop in and register with any authorized Plymouth, Valiant, Dodge, Lancer, Chrysler, or Imperial dealer. But this is important. You must register during October open house, and that ends October 31st. Why not see your dealer tonight? Free car offer void in Nebraska, Wisconsin, Florida, Canada, and wherever else prohibited by law.
The big news right now is that Whitey Ford of the New York Yankees has set a World Series pitching record by pitching 30 consecutive scoreless innings over 2 seasons of World Series play. He broke Babe Ruth's record, as Babe Ruth had pitched 29 2/3 innings of consecutive scoreless baseball in 1916 and again in 1918. And the umpires were that considerate that when the record was broken, Augie Donatelli made the presentation or asked O'Toole about it, and asked O'Toole, and O'Toole said, yes, change the ball. And Donatelli threw the ball to Frankie Crosetti, the third base coach, and Frankie Crosetti will present the ball to Whitey Ford. And that is a World Series record, because back in 1916, Babe Ruth pitched 13 scoreless innings against Brooklyn. And then in the 1918 series, he pitched 16 scoreless innings, 16 and 2/3 scoreless innings, I believe, against the Chicago Cubs, for a total of 29 and 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings in World Series play. Now, Ford made his against Pittsburgh last year and the Reds this year. The batter now, we have Roger Maris batting against O'Toole. The pitch is high inside, ball 1. And the score as we go into the 4th inning is 0-0. Both teams, no runs, 1 hit. Roger Maris up there now. He fouled out, to the catcher back there in the 1st inning. O'Toole looks him over, starts his action, coming in with his pitch. Maris took it low outside. That's 2 balls and no strikes, 2-0. Well, Babe Ruth suffered at the hands of all these fellows this year, didn't he? I mean, when you get right down to it, and you might say the heritage, if you want to put it that way, of the Yankees, I guess. As Ruth was a Yankee himself, and now he's had 2 Yankees break 2 of his records. The pitch to Maris, he hit a foul right up here close to the press box, right under the broadcasting booth. 2 balls and a strike. Of course, Ruth set his records as a pitcher when he was with the Boston Red Sox. He set his home run records when he was with the New York Yankees. So actually, his pitching record was not as a Yankee, but the Yankees have broken them. Well, as Ford Frick says, the 154 game record was not broken. Maris took a high one. That's ball 3. It's more to the point that Maris established a new record for 162 games with his 61 home runs, and the commissioner says that he did not break Ruth's 154 game schedule mark of 60 home runs. And regardless of that, it was a great feat. Great feat. 3 balls and a strike on Maris, as O'Toole now has taken a sign from Darrell Johnson. He winds. He pitches. Over everything, and that hit the backstop. They sort of it's ball 4, but had a man been on, it would have been a wild pitch. But no one was on base, and it's just ball 4. It bounced off the backstop and bounced back to Johnson, who chased it. So Maris has had a base on balls, and this brings up Mickey Mantle now, the other half of the M&M twins. Mickey Mantle. Gene Freese threw him out in the 2nd inning. So it's Maris on first base, no one out, the top of the 4th inning here in the 4th World Series game. Today's game at Crosley Field in Cincinnati, where the teams are battling on a 0-0 basis once again. So O'Toole is looking Mantle over now. And Johnson giving the sign. Maris is edging off first base as O'Toole is watching him. He pitches. That's outside high. Ball 1 ball, no strikes, 1-0. Every so often, O'Toole, who is a mighty fine young pitcher, every so often he tries to put a little extra on the pitch, especially against the real top fellows, and he gets a little wild. He did it in the first game, as a matter of fact, in the first inning, and Freddie Hutchinson quickly vacated the bench to run out and calm him down a little. Right, O'Toole hesitates now. They're playing straight away on Mantle. As the pitch to Mantle is too high, and that's ball 2. 2-0. Chacon is the lone fielder, you might say, who has switched position much, as he is playing over towards second, and that is, of course, to expedite a double play if it's possible. The score is 0-0. New York, no runs, 1 hit. The Reds, no runs, 1 hit, and there's no one out on the top of the 4th inning. Maris is on first base, 2 balls, no strikes on Mickey Mantle, batting right-handed. O'Toole pitches. There's a line drive for a base hit in the left center, and Post went over there quickly. Well, he didn't immediately field the ball. He returned it to second base. Mantle held at first, and Maris came to third. So there's a line drive base hit for Mickey Mantle in the left center field. And they're going to take Mantle out of the ball game, as evidently his side is bothering him, and Hector Lopez is supplanting Mantle on first base. He's substituting for Mantle. Maris on third, and now it's Hector Lopez running for Mantle, as evidently Mantle doesn't run well, and he hit the ball on the ground on that particular play. He would have been a cinch out double. It could have been a cinch double play because he wasn't running well at all. So it is now Hector Lopez on first. No one out on the top of the 4th inning. The Yankees with runners at first and third. The batter is Elston Howard, batting right-handed. As O'Toole pitches to Howard, that's strike 1 call. Howard struck out in the 2nd inning, swinging. The score is 0-0. No balls, 1 strike, 0-1. As the throw made to the plate, Howard hit the ball on the ground down to Casco. 1 out at second. The run scores. 2 away. As there was a double play, but Maris scored from third base on the DP. Howard hit into a DP, and he does not receive credit for a run batted in. Strangely, the Reds have made 5 double plays in this series, and the Yankees have made none. Jim Maloney is warming up in the Reds' bullpen. So the Yankees are leading 1-0 with 2 out in the top of the 4th inning. The Yankees with 1 run and 2 hits. The Reds with no runs and 1 hit. The batter is Yogi Berra. Berra flied out to Robinson in right field in the 2nd inning. O'Toole in action. He throws. Ground ball hit down to the Chacon. The pitcher is covering it first, and Berra is out, the second baseman to the pitcher. And in the 4th inning, the Yankees grabbed the lead with 1 run, 1 hit, no one left on. The Yankees have 1 run, 2 hits, 2 men left on to show for 4 turns at bat. And so at the end of the 3rd inning, at the end of 3.5 innings, the score is the New York Yankees 1, the Cincinnati Reds 0.
All Live Car. That's Plymouth for 62. The exciting simplicity of All Live Car. Put your foot down. Your Plymouth moves out eagerly, surges up to cruising speed as much as 11% faster. Yet you'll get many more miles between gas ups because the engine doesn't drag around excess weight. Performance up, gas consumption down. That's Plymouth. Full size, right size, and completely new for 62. Plymouth for 62 brings you new forward flare design. The emphasis is up front at the business end of the car. Look at Plymouth now, the beautiful difference in the low price field. One of the live new cars from Chrysler Corporation.
Looks like it's gonna be a Chrysler year.
See your Plymouth dealer during October open house.
Well, we have a new defensive lineup now for the New York Yankees, as Roger Maris has moved over to play center field. Maris in center, and Hector Lopez has gone to right field. So the outfield will be Berra in left field, Maris in center, Lopez in right. The infield, Boyer at third, Quebec at short, Richardson second, Skowron at first, Ford pitching, and Howard catching. The batter now is Eddie Casco. Eddie Casco leading off in the bottom of the fourth inning. The pitch to Eddie is high, ball one. The first time up, Casco flied out to the right fielder, Maris. We're going into the bottom half of the fourth inning here at Crosley Field with the Yankees leading 1-0 in this fourth game of the World Series. The pitch is there, and that's strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. 1-1 on Casco. That's a little high. That's ball two. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1. Two and one on Casco. Whitey Ford taking the sign. Here he's winding, pitching. Casco took a cut. He missed, and that's strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2-2. That was sort of a slider that broke in on his hands up inside, and Casco tried to chop it in the left field, but he missed the ball. 2-2. The home plate umpire, Augie Donatelli. Ed Runge of the American League at first. Jocko Conlon of the National League at second. Casco hit a foul. That's drifting into the grandstand over there to the right. That's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The third base umpire is Frank Umont of the American League. Shag Crawford of the National League down on the left field line, and Bob Stewart of the American League down on the right field line. Whitey Ford is looking out towards center field, being rather nonchalant, cool, and cautious. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Casco batting. The Reds have had 1 hit so far. Now a pitch to Casco. Casco single in the left center. Yogi Berra retrieved the ball, got it back to the infield. That's the 5th hit of the series for Casco. 1 out of 2 for the day. The Cincinnati Reds have a tying run at first base. The Yankees are leading 1-0 with no one out in the bottom of the fourth inning. Bada Pinson up. He lined out to Mickey Mantle in the first inning out in center field. Bada Pinson batting left-handed. As Whitey Ford hesitates, pitches to Pinson. Pinson hit a fly ball out in left field. Yogi Berra going over to the line. Held on to the ball, and there comes Casco coming back to first base as Yogi made a staggering catch going into the left field line down there. It was a fair ball all the way. But Yogi just managed to get to the ball, and Pinson is out. Casco is back on first. Momentarily there, it looked as if it might fall in and that Casco might come around to third. But Yogi made the stab, and Robinson up now. The Yankees are leading 1-0 with 1 out in the bottom of the fourth inning. The batter is Frankie Robinson. Robinson grounded out in the second inning. As Whitey Ford hesitates, ready to pitch, he throws to Robinson. Robinson missed. Strike 1. That was a low pitch. Robbie chased it downstairs there. No balls and a strike. Whitey Ford throws. It hit Robinson on the foot, and he's taking first base. The pitch was inside, and it hit Robinson on the left foot. Casco moved along to second. Robinson is on first. And the Cincinnati fans here are clamoring and stamping and applauding, and they want action. And the hometown fans want action. Wally Post up there now. Wally Post flied out to Berra back in the second inning. The score is the New York Yankees 1 and the Cincinnati Reds 0. 1 man out in the bottom of the fourth inning. Now the fans are keeping up that sort of buzz of excitement and that sort of oral clamor that you hear down there. All right, Whitey Ford hesitating. The pitch in there now to post is outside high. Ball one, Jim Coates. Coates. Jim Coates, a right-hander, is warming up in the bullpen for the New York Yankees. Coates from Village, Virginia. Tall right-hander. Wally Post up. Throw now to Post. He grounded a ball down to the shortstop. One out at second, the throw to first, the double play. As Post hit into a DP. That's the first Yankee double play of the World Series. It went from the shortstop to the second baseman to the first baseman. And in the fourth inning, the Cincinnati Reds, no runs, one hit, and one man left on base. And so at the end of the fourth inning, the score is the New York Yankees 1, the Cincinnati Reds nothing.
Don't miss your chance to win a brand new 62 Chrysler Corporation car. Stop in at your dealers now and sign up to win one during October open house. Plymouths, Valiants, Dodge Darts, Lancers, Chryslers, Imperials. 180 brand new cars are offered free, and one of them may be yours. If you own a car, any make or model, any year, all you have to do to qualify is come in, see the complete rules, and register with any authorized dealer who sells Plymouth, Valiant, Dodge, Lancer, Chrysler, or Imperial. That's all there is to it, and you may win one of 180 beautiful 1962 Chrysler Corporation cars. But be sure to register at your dealers by October 31st. You can't win unless you do. Free car offer void in Nebraska, Wisconsin, Florida, Canada, and wherever else prohibited by law.
Looks like it's gonna be a Chrysler year.
This is WGY, WGFM, the General Electric Station, Schenectady.
Here in this fourth World Series game, the pitch to Skowron. He threw the bat, swinging at a ball. The bat flew down toward Cressetti, who dodged it very artfully. No balls, one strike, nothing in one. The bat just flew out of the hands of Skowron. With one strike on Skowron in the top of the fifth inning, the New York Yankees have 1 run and 2 hits. The Cincinnati Reds, no runs and 2 hits. O'Toole bends forward again, taking the signals. The infield's playing deep. The Reds infield way back. One more throw now to Skowron. That's a pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. Fifth inning, top of the fifth. Yankees leading 1-0. Freeze at third, Casco at short, Chacon at second, Coleman at first, Post and left, Pinson and right, Pinson in center, Robinson right. Skowron took it low, and that bounced off the catcher's glove. 2 balls and a strike, 2-1.
Summer camp, the PA informed us that Richardson had a slight cut on the left foot on the outer part near the ankle, but Robinson slid into him in there.
O'Toole pitching and Darrell Johnson catching. Bobby Richardson, the Yankee second baseman, sustained a slight cut on the outer edge of his foot from Robinson sliding in the second. Skowron half swung, and it's called strike 2 as he described sort of a knock with his bat there, and he didn't like the call. He didn't think he swung, but Augie Donatelli quickly assured him that he did. So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2-2. He tried to hold back on the swing, and he wasn't successful. 2-2 on Skowron. O'Toole ready with his pitch. He makes it. Skowron hit a foul. That's back in the upper deck behind the home plate. 2-2. Two and two on Bill. There's no score in this inning yet. This is the first man up. The Yankees leading the Reds 1-0. First man up in the fifth. O'Toole now drawing a bead on the glove of Johnson. He pitches. Just got it outside. Just off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 3-2. So the Reds infield is backing up a pace or 2. O'Toole is winding, firing. There's a ball hit in the right field. A base hit in the right. As Skowron reached up and tagged a high one and drove it into right field for a base hit. Skowron had walked in the third inning, so he has 1 out of 1 for the afternoon so far in one official trip. Skowron on first base now, so this sets up a similar situation to the third. In the third inning, Skowron walked, and then Boyer forced Skowron at second base. However, Boyer up there batting right-handed now. That is the Yankees' third hit. The Yankees have 1 run and 3 hits. The Reds have no runs and 2 hits. As O'Toole, ready to fire, is checking his man on first. Here he comes. The pitch to the batter is hit down a freeze. 1 out at second. The throw to first. A double play. That's double play number 6 for Cincinnati in the series. That went from Freeze, the third baseman, to Chacon, the second baseman, to Coleman, the first baseman. 2 away in the Yankee half of the 5th inning, and the Yankees are leading 1-0. Yankees ahead 1-0 with 2 out in the 5th. The batter now, Whitey Ford, who has set that new pitching record. And indeed, he's gone beyond it. He just hasn't set it with 1 out or anything. He's 1 inning beyond it, 1 1/3 innings beyond it, as a matter of fact. As he's pitched 31 consecutive scoreless innings in World Series play. The pitch to him by O'Toole is high. Ball 1 ball on Whitey. One 0. Freeze is in on him a bit. The left fielder Post is playing shallow. Pinson, the center fielder, playing shallow. The right side of the infield playing deep. Another pitch to Whitey. Strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1-1. O'Toole, when he winds, he just comes up once. He kicks that right leg fairly high, about waist high, and does a sort of a little pivot to the left, just before he pitches. Here he comes. That's inside. That's 2 balls and a strike, 2-1 on Ford. Up at the plate. 2 out. In the top of the 5th inning in the 4th World Series game, the Yankees are leading in this game 1-0. Two and 1. O'Toole firing again. 3-1 now. That's down low. So the pitcher, Ford, has the Cincinnati pitcher in a hole. 3-1. Another throw. Ball 4 as the pitch was a little off the plate, and down goes Ford with a base on balls. That's the third base on balls given up by O'Toole. Ford on first base, 2 out in the top of the 5th inning. The Yankees are leading 1-0. The Yankees have 1 run and 3 hits. The Cincinnati Reds, no runs and 2 hits. Of the 3 bases on balls that O'Toole has given up, one of them scored. The 4th inning started with a base on balls to Roger Maris. Then Mantle promptly hit a line drive in the left center. Maris came around to third base where he scored while a double play was being made on a ball hit by Elston Howard. This is Bobby Richardson up there now, batting right-handed. As the pitch to Richardson is taken low. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0. Richardson from Sumter, North Carolina. South Carolina. We got Sumter in the wrong state, didn't we? Well, Johnson has taken the opportunity to go out and talk to O'Toole now and sort of smooth him down a little bit. One ball, no strikes, 1-0 on Richardson. He doubled in the third inning. He flied out to center in the first, and then he doubled in the third. O'Toole hesitating, checking Ford on first base. He pitches. Ball is hit in the ground for a base hit in the center. Ford is just loping in the second. He's not running very hard. That's a base hit in the center. This will bring up Tony Kubek with 2 out on the 5th and runners at first and second. That's another hit for Richardson. That's the 7th. That's the 7th World Series hit. Kubek up there now, batting left-handed. So O'Toole hesitates. He pitches. Foul ball as Kubek rolled it to the backstop. No balls, 1 strike, nothing in 1. No balls and a strike on Kubek. He struck out in the first. He flied out to center in the third. O'Toole ready. He pitches. Strike 2. That was a call strike right on the outside edge. Caught the outside edge with his slider, I believe. Although it's a little hard to tell. You see, O'Toole throws a fastball lots of times that has the appearance of a slider. His fastball doesn't go exactly straight. It sort of moves a little bit. Right-handed batters will tell you that a great deal. Sometimes they mistake his fastball for a slider. No balls, 2 strikes, nothing in 2. O'Toole hesitating now. Here he comes. He pitches. No good outside. That was the curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One ball and 2 strikes on Kubek. O'Toole taking a little time now, bracing himself against the pitcher's rubber. Checks his runners. He pitches. There's a ball hit out in right center, and it's in there for a base hit. The throw is in toward home plate. A run is scoring as Kubek. There's a throw to second base as Kubek went to second. Continued on to second. A sort of a fly ball base hit into right center field. And Ford has scored from second base, and that puts the Yankees out in front 2-0. Kubek went to second on the throw by Pinson to the home plate. The 2 strikes on Kubek when he singled. And now the Yankees are leading 2-0. Ford scored. Richardson came around to third base. And Kubek went to second on the throw-in. So the Yankees have runners at second and third with 2 men out in the top of the 5th inning, and the Yankees are leading 2-0, and Roger Maris is the batter. Batting left-handed. He fouled out in the first, and he walked in the 4th. As O'Toole fires, the strike 1 called. Jim Maloney warming up in the bullpen. Roger Maris, batting left-handed. He scored the first Yankee run in the 4th inning. He walked and eventually scored while a double play was being made. No balls and a strike on Maris. Keeps pumping the bat out there at O'Toole. Darrell Johnson is holding a low target. O'Toole in action. Throws again. Maris hit a foul ball, but that's back of the Reds bench into the grandstand. No balls, 2 strikes, nothing in 2. The New York Yankees have 2 runs and 5 hits and no errors. The Cincinnati Reds, no runs, 2 hits and no errors. And there are 2 men out on the top of the 5th. The Yankees have runners at second and third. No balls, 2 strikes on Maris. So O'Toole takes the signal now. He pitches a little high. That's 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 and 2. Maloney is warming up down in the bullpen, Jim Maloney. And you see O'Toole is scheduled to bat 4th in the next inning. And if it gets down that to O'Toole, why, there may be a pinch hitter with the score standing as it is at the present time against the Cincinnati Reds. The Yankees are leading 2-0, and they have runners at second and third with 2 out. As O'Toole hesitates now. He's aiming at the glove of Johnson. The pitch is hit out in right field, a high one, and Robinson is moving up the terrace. Under it, has it, and Maris is out. And so the Yankees added another run in the 5th inning on 3 hits, 1 run, 3 hits and 2 men left on. They have 2 runs, 5 hits, 4 men left on in 5 innings. And so, at the end of 4.5 innings, the score is the New York Yankees 2 and the Cincinnati Reds nothing. And right here, I would like to present to you my very esteemed colleague, Bob Wolf, is so well regarded as the broadcaster for the Minnesota Twins.
Thank you, Wade Hoyt. The first half of today's game was brought to you by the Chrysler Corporation. The second half of this game is being brought to you by the Gillette Safety Razor Company. It can't happen today, but the last time the Yanks were here, this was the wrap-up game. The highlights of that 1939 series are on pages 37 and 38 of the World Series Encyclopedia. This great book is a Gillette exclusive, and it's yours free with the Gillette Adjustable Razor Set at the regular price of $195. It has line scores of every series game, game-by-game highlights, lifetime statistics of every series player, lots more, and it's free with the Gillette Adjustable Razor. The adjustable, you know, is the razor you dial to one of 9 settings that's just right for your skin and beard. With it comes a dispenser of those remarkable Super Blue Blades for all but unbelievable shaving comfort. Get the whole deal for only $1.95. The Gillette Adjustable Super Blue Blades and your free pocket World Series Encyclopedia.
For today's game, fourth game.
The attendance has just been announced. It's exactly the same as yesterday. 32,589. 32589. And now it's Gene Freese coming up against Whitey Ford in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Freese has been up once. He's flied out to right field. The Reds keep their bullpen busy as Whitey Ford looks in to get the sign now from Yogi Berra, from Elston Howard. The pitch swung on. There's a line foul outside the left field line for strike 1. Freese fouled by Coleman and Johnson. Freese is a pull hitter, and the next pitch comes inside in the dirt as Howard scoops it up nicely. On the count now is 1-1. 1-1 to Freese, Coleman on deck. So far, Ford has given the same performance that he did in the series opener. That is, no runs and just 2 hits. And one of those 2 hits by Casco, who also had a hit in the first game against Whitey. The pitch to Freese, swung on and fouled outside of third over toward the Reds bullpen. Yogi Berra, who is playing left field, is just on the edge of the embankment, and he faces the left field line. He stands sideways to home plate. Maris, who is now in center, is slightly over toward left center field, and Lopez is playing a deep right. Here's the sign now from Howard. Ford all set to work. The count now is ball 1, strike 2. The wind up by Whitey, the pitch on the way. On the inside, just by a few inches for a ball. On the count now is 2-2 to Freese. Freese has been a power hitter right throughout the season, but he is looking for his first World Series hit. And Red fans know that Freese and some of the others will have to start producing against these Yankees. And there's a line shot. Just foul by inches outside the left field line. Boy, that one was tagged by Freese. A curving drive which was inches outside the line. Chad Crawford, regarding that line, the National League umpire, waved that it was outside the line, but not by far. As Freese steps back in with the count 2-2. How long can the Reds' vaunted power hitters be throttled? That's the big question. Can Ford do it again? At the halfway point, the Yankees lead 2-0. The pitch, inside and low, and the count now is 3-2. Actually, Whitey Ford by himself hold the key to this entire series. Ford with just superlative pitching, demonstrated by the series records that he has already broken, has been the master. Can he be solved? This is the problem that the Reds have to combat. Up to this point, they have not been able to do so. Here's Freese now at the count 3-2. Whitey winds. The pitch on the way. Swung on. It's a long drive going foul again. And this one into the netting about 20 feet outside the foul pole. As Freese, a pronounced pull hitter, is taking dead aim on that left field line. But the last couple have now been pulled foul. And the crowd here has come to life in Cincinnati as Freese leads off the bottom half of the 5th inning against the Yankee pitching master. Ford looks in to get the sign from Elston Howard, the versatile catcher of New York. The windup by Whitey. The pitch on the way. Foul back against the screen this time. And the count continues at 3-2 to Gene Freese. The Reds, 2 hits so far against Ford have been singles by Darrell Johnson, returned to the lineup after being out with a pulled muscle, on by Eddie Casco, who was setting a pretty torrid pace himself in the offensive department and defensively in this World Series play. 3-2 pitch coming up now. The sign from Howard. Ford takes a little more time. Freeze has been swinging a hot bat. Here comes the pitch, and it is swung on. There's another long foul. And this one is way out there and left into the screen. Oh, more than 70 feet or so outside the foul pole. As Gene Freeze is putting on quite a batting demonstration, but they're being fouled off. So the count holds at 3-2 to Gene Freeze, who again steps back in. Grips that bat, swings it, looks out to the mound. Ford winds, the pitch on the way. Swung on, and this time it's going out to short right. Back goes Richardson, in comes Lopez. Lopez calls, and he's got it. So Freeze, after fouling him continually outside the left field line, finally flies out to right field, and he gets fine hand as he comes back into the bench. And now it's Brosnan and Maloney, both warming up for the Reds. Both right-handers. As Gordy Coleman, who is 0 for 1, he's grounded out, steps up with one away in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Ford looks around at his defensive alignment, first to his right, then to his left. Now he's all set to work on Coleman with one away in the bottom of the fifth. The windup by Ford. The pitch on the way is a fastball called strike. And they'll tell you that Ford is sneaky fast. That's the baseball parlance. You just can't believe that pitch is on you when it is. That, plus his great curves and the ability to hit the corners, plus his all-around pitching savvy, makes Ford as tough as you can get. The pitch is swung on. There's a ground ball going out to Kubek. He's up with the throw to first base. Ball the out, and Coleman is out number 2. 2 away in the bottom half of the fifth inning. The batter coming up now is Darrell Johnson, who solved a Ford pitch in the third inning for the first Cincinnati hit, a single to left. 2 down, there is nobody on for the Reds as Darrell Johnson steps in. Started out this year as a coach elsewhere, finally came back to the active playing ranks and has done a fine job for the Reds. First pitch is low and inside. Count now is ball 1 to Darrell Johnson. 2 down, bottom of the fifth inning. Another fine pitching duel this afternoon, the same as we witnessed in the opening game of the series between Ford and O'Toole. Yanks lead by a 2-0 score. The pitch coming up to Johnson is a curve over for a called strike, and Johnson sent a lean toward that one, then held back as the ball broke over the outside corner. Augie Donatelli calling the balls and strikes. Count is 1-1 to Darrell Johnson. Slender right-handed batter. Ford gets the side from Howard. The southpaw starts the windup. Here's the pitch on the way, and it's swung on, and there's a base hit to straightaway center field. Fielded by Maris. Johnson drove one right back through the middle by Ford out over second base. He's on with a base hit to center. So there is a man on first base with 2 away, and Dick Gurnett is coming up off the bench as a pinch hitter for Jim O'Toole. Dick Gurnett is stepping up as a pinch hitter. He'll bat for Jim O'Toole. And time is called as Howard goes out to speak to his pitcher.
Gurnett's hitting for O'Toole.
Gurnett is hitting for the pitcher and is coming up with 0 for 2 in World Series play. During the course of the regular season, Gurnett had a .302 batting average. The oddity about Gurnett's hitting is that in the American League, he was famed as a power hitter. His average was not too high. There's a called strike one on a curveball. But here in the National League, he has not had any triples nor any homers, and yet he has hoisted his batting average for the season to .302. Ever dangerous at the plate, a right-handed batter. Count is strike 1. Here's the pitch, and there's a ground ball going out to Boyer, who makes a throw to Richardson at second for the force on Johnson to retire the side. And so in the bottom half of the fifth inning, the total show, no runs, one hit, no errors, and one left. The score at the end of 5 innings, Yankees 2, the Reds nothing.
For the cool, refreshing lift you crave, try a Gillette foamy shave. Shave and cool and shave and wet. Beat any kind of shaving yet. Shave Gillette.
Clean, cool, refreshing. That's a foamy shave. Just a touch of the nozzle puts rich, creamy lather at your fingertips. Full-bodied lather that holds oceans of moisture against your beard. What's more, Foamy has K34, the antiseptic that erases bacteria while you shave. With all these advantages, you might expect Foamy to be the fastest-growing instant lather of them all. And it sure enough is. Try a Gillette Foamy shave yourself. Regular size costs 79 cents. Giant economy size holds twice as much, costs only 98 cents. With cooling menthol added, same price.
This is WGY, WGFM Schenectady.
Along with Wade Hoyt here in Cincinnati, where the Reds have a new pitcher on the mound, Jim Brosnan. Now comes on the scene as the 6th inning gets on the way. The spectacled right-hander will be pitching first to Lopez, and here's the first pitch coming up. Swung on and foul back out of play. For strike one. Lopez went in as a pinch runner for Mantle in the 4th inning. After Mantle had singled Maris to third and Roger later scored as Howard grounded into a double play. Brosnan winds the next pitch. Coming up to Lopez is a fastball missed. Count now, strike 2. 2 strikes to Hector Lopez. Lopez is 0 for 2 prior to this game in the series. Brosnan getting the sign from Darrell Johnson. Right-hander dips low in the windup. Up goes the arm. The pitch on the way is wide, and it goes right by the catcher. Count now is ball 1, strike 2. Brosnan, 31 years old. He was born in Cincinnati. Now lives in Morton Grove, Illinois. He's a tall 6'4", 211 pounds, right-hander, who this past season had a 10-4 record. The pitch swung on. There's a foul going off to the right, going toward the seats. 1-2. Jim has won fame not only for his pitching, but by being an author. Lopez, right-handed batter, waits. Count is 1-2. Here's the next pitch on the way. And it is high as Lopez started to move for it. Held back on the swing. The count now is 2-2. Score of the ball game. The Yankees 2 and the Reds nothing. This is the start of the 6th inning. Ready now for that 2-2 pitch to Lopez. Here it comes. Strike called. And Lopez is out on a strikeout. So there's one away in the top of the 6th. And the batter is Elston Howard, who is 0 for 2. Jim is married to a pitcher. Wife is Ann Pitcher. That was her maiden name. Here now is Howard up there. He is struck out, grounded into a twin killing. Pitch from Brosnan. Swung on. There's a fly ball going to right center field. Robinson and Pinson both going for the ball. Neither can get it. It's taken by Robinson just a foot or so from the fence on the hop. On the way to second base goes Howard. In with a stand-up double. Elston Howard coming up with a 2-bagger to deep right center field. So Howard is on second with one away, and the batter is Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra steps up and he'll draw an intentional walk. There's ball 1 wide. So they're walking the vaunted left-hander to bring up the right-handed batting, Bill Skowron. With one away, Howard is on second. The walk is coming up to Yogi Berra. Ball 3 is wide. And there's ball 4. As Berra now moves to first base. That brings up Skowron, who has walked and singled to right field. That's the 4th walk that the Yankees have been accorded this afternoon. This one was an intentional one. And Skowron, who is a very tough man to defense because he can hit that ball to all fields with his strong wrist power, steps up, and the outfield is playing him straight away. Infield a double play depth. The pitch, foul back for strike one. Elston Howard is on second. Yogi Berra is on first base, and there's one out. We're in the top of the sixth inning. The score, the Yankees 2, the Reds nothing. There have been 6 hits so far for New York, 3 for Cincinnati. Casco, Chacon at double play depth. As Brosnan takes the stretch on the pause. Here's the pitch. Skowron swings, dribbles one along the third base line. Freeze is coming in fast, scoops up with a bare hand, throws to first too late. Skowron is safe on an infield hit. A top ball inside the third base line, and Freeze came in, scooped it up beautifully with his bare hand, threw in almost the same motion. Skowron beat it for an infield hit. And the bases are loaded. As Howard is now at third, Yogi Berra is now at second, Skowron is at first base. He's had 2 for 2 this afternoon, plus a walk, and that brings up Clete Boyer, who's been a defensive standout in the series. And the Reds bullpen brigade again jumps into action as Boyer steps in. The pitch is fouled back behind home plate. And the count now is strike one. Boyer's 0 for 2. This is Brosnan's second relief appearance in this series. The pitch is low, and the count now is 1-1. He followed Jim O'Toole in relief in the first game of the series.
Maloney and Henry warming up.
Warming up for the Reds, Maloney and Henry. Here's the pitch. Swung on, there's a line drive to left field. It is in there for a base hit. Rolling up against the wall. Post plays the carom as it hops back off the wall. Coming in to score, Howard. Coming in to score is Yogi Berra. Bill Skowron is in at third base. And Boyer is in at second with a double. A shot which hopped along and bounded up against that left field wall. So Clete Boyer comes up with a big hit for New York with the bases loaded. And the Yankees right now have Skowron on third, Boyer on second. The batter is Whitey Ford. The infield comes in. And there's a foul back to the side. The Yankees now lead by a score of 4-0, with 2 runs having come across here in this sixth inning. As the Yankees are staging an uprising here, there is just 1 out. The infield is drawn tight for Ford. Here's the windup by Brosnan. The pitch is fouled, and Ford goes right down to the ground on that one and comes up limping a bit. Looked like that ball came down and hit him on the foot. Whitey picks up the bat. Apparently just stung him for the moment. Now he steps outside of the batter's box. Johnson gets the ball back to Brosnan at the mound. Score of the ball game is 4-0 New York. The infield drawn in. Skowron on third. Boyer is on second. Ford steps back in. 2 strikes the count. Brosnan all set to work. Now the 2-strike pitch coming up. And there's a ground ball which is just fair, taken by Coleman. He has Skowron trapped as he races toward the third baseline. And he makes the tag. Coleman touched first base, then went over and made the tag on Skowron, who was trapped between third and home for an unassisted double play to retire the side. So in the top of the sixth inning, 2 runs posted for the New York Yankees in the score at the end of 5.5. The Yankees 4, the Reds nothing.
Bobby Richardson, 3rd run batted in today, and he now has a total of 12 RBIs in 6 ball games.
That set a new series record. Listen to the actual play-by-play of little Bobby Richardson chasing home his 12th run.
Johnny Blanchard at second base. 2-1 pitch to Bobby. Swinging a well-tied ball left center, way back. It's going to be out there. Verdon can't get it. It's going to go to the wall. Here is Blanchard.
Blanchard scoring. Richardson around second. He's on his way to third. And he goes in standing up with a triple.
Exciting records like that are all put down in easy-to-read form in the Gillette World Series Encyclopedia, a handy pocketbook that is yours for free with the purchase of the Gillette Adjustable Razor Set at the regular price of $1.95. What a book! 256 pages containing a history of the World Series since it began. Stories, facts, records. You get them all in this new World Series Encyclopedia. It comes free with the Gillette Adjustable Razor and a dispenser of those amazing Super Blue Blades for only $1.95.
Well, the crowd is still buzzing about that one as Whitey Ford sent a ground ball to Coleman, who took it near the bag, touched the base with his foot while he was brandishing his arm towards Skowron, who was hung up between third and home. And all the while Coleman was bluffing, making the throw, he was running toward the Yankee runner and finally made the tag on Skowron along the baseline for the unassisted double play to retire the side. With 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 man left on in the top of the 6th inning. So as you move to the bottom half of the 6th, there's Chacon leading off, and the first pitch is ball 1. New York leads by a score of 4-0. Chacon is 0 for 2 against Whitey Ford. Here's the pitch, and it's a called strike on the outside corner. The count now is 1-1. To be followed by Casco and Pinson. So far, just 3 hits against Whitey Ford. 1-1, the count to Chacon. The leadoff batter for the Reds. Ford starts the windup. Here's the pitch on the way. It's swung on. There's a line drive, which is foul by 3 feet or so outside the left field line and about halfway out to the wall. Elston Howard hustles out to speak to Whitey Ford. Two having a little confab out there at the mound, and now here's Howard coming back. Whitey rolling along with his consecutive scoreless innings has now gone 32 in World Series competition without giving up a run. All set to go now. Chacon is in waiting. The pitch is inside and low. And Chacon starts to first base as if he is hit by a pitch, and he is being called back by Yogi Donatelli. The ball was inside and low, and it hit the dirt and bounded back behind Elston Howard. And Chacon took off for first base without any moment's hesitation, but Donatelli has called him back to the plate. Had Chacon swung at that ball and missed it for strike 3, he could have taken off and started to move had it gotten by Howard as it did. But Chacon, in this case, did not appear to give it much of a cut. He was moving back out of the way and apparently claiming the ball hit him. But he is called back by Donatelli. The count now is 2-2. Pitch. There's a ball lined to short left, and Berra comes in, makes a dive for it, can't get it. Chacon is on first base. A base hit for Ilio Chacon, starting off the bottom half of the 6th inning. Berra made a dive for that one, bumped along the ground. Just barely got his glove on it, but as Berra was lying in, the ball was just 1 or 2 feet just behind him. Tony Kubek is going off for a few words with Berra in left. And I think that Yogi may have had something in his eye there. Trainer Doc March is going out for a closer look at Berra. Berra came in, diving for that ball, which, as it came up on that ground there, as Yogi barely got his glove on it, may have hit him right there in the forehead, or it's possible that Yogi, when he hit the ground, may have hit his head at that point of impact. At any rate, he's being administered to by the trainer on his head, and I see now that there is a cut, which is almost in the center of his forehead, just above the nose area, and just over his right eye. And apparently the sunglasses that Yogi is wearing might have been pressed there and inflicted that cut. It's bleeding just slightly as we look down through the glasses here in our broadcast booth. And the Yankee trainer, Doc March, is out taking a look at it. He is down there with Yogi. They're standing in the infield dirt, and Yogi is surrounded by three of the other Yankee players. Now Ralph Houk is going out to the scene. And while this is going on, there is a new pitcher on the scene for the New York Yankees. As all of a sudden, we see that the Yankees have made a pitching change while the glasses were being focused on Yogi Berra. And Jim Coates has moved on the scene to take up the pitching at this point, which is certainly a most unusual development. Berra is now patched up and going out to his left field spot. Elio Chacon is on first base with a single to left, which caused the Yankees and the Yankee trainer to gather around Berra. And while Berra was being administered to, there was Coates coming in to take over the pitching. And I'm sure we can anticipate a further announcement as to why Whitey Ford has gone out at this point. Of course, it has something to do with injury or illness. And we'll await further reports up here in our broadcast booth. And Coates is allowed to take as long a warm-up as he wants to because he is coming in following an injury to Whitey Ford, which apparently developed very quickly in that last pitch to Chacon. It appears on the first report that Whitey injured his elbow on that last pitch. But with this very unusual development taking place here in the bottom half of the sixth inning with nobody out, we'll be getting further reports undoubtedly. At any rate, on one play here, we have had two injuries, with Berra getting injured in left, apparently all right, but Ford having to leave the ball game, and Jim Coates, who is a right-hander, is taking an extended warm-up and is now all set to work. It's possible that when Ford was at the plate, you may recall in the bottom of the sixth, he hit him to an unassisted double play to end the inning, that he may have injured himself in some way on the swing, but we'll have to wait the official report. Now here's Eddie Casco facing Coates. And the first pitch is over for a called strike. There's a throw by Howard to Skowron, and Chacon is back to the bag at first base. Coates is a tall right-hander. And Louis Arroyo, meanwhile, is warming up in the Yankee bullpen. There's a look toward first to Chacon. The pitch swung on. There's a high fly ball to short left. Berra comes in, looking up in the sun for it, and has it. Casco is out. That brings up Vada Pinson, who is 0 for 2. Now, Whitey Ford has set a new Major League record with 32 consecutive scoreless innings. But he left with one man on base, Chacon. If Chacon does score, he'll be charged against Ford. Pinson swings and misses for strike one. Jim Coates on the mound. Arroyo warming up in the bullpen. And Vada Pinson at the plate with a one-strike count. Here's the pitch. Pinson swings. There's a grounder going out to Skowron. He goes back, touches the bag for the out. As on the play, Chacon moves to second base. And that brings up Frank Robinson, who is 0 for 1 and has been hit by a pitch. And now we're faced with this World Series oddity. If Robinson drives in Chacon will be charged to Ford. That will break the scoreless streak. If Robinson goes out, the scoreless streak remains intact till Whitey pitches again. Robinson the batter. Here's the pitch, and there's a foul back, and the count now is strike one. Score of the ball game, 4-0. The New York Yankees lead Cincinnati. With 4 runs and 8 hits, the Reds have no runs and 4 hits. Jim Coates, 29 years old, 6 feet 4, 180 pounds on the mound. He had a record last season of 11-5. The stretch and the pause, a look back toward second. The pitch is inside, hitting Robinson on the right-hander arm as he winced and jumped back from the plate. Second time that Robinson has been hit. Incidentally, you may have noted that the Yankees are pitching Robinson consistently very tight, jamming him at the plate in their pitching styles. There are now 2 men on, and the batter is Wally Post, who is 0 for 2. And Robinson has a tendency to stand in very close to the plate and lean into the pitch. He has been hit twice in this game. Here's Wally Post with runners on first and second and 2 away. A look back. Here's the pitch to Post. Swung on and missed on a curveball for strike one. Score of the ball game, 4-0 New York, but Cincinnati now threatening in the bottom half of the 6th inning. The runners are Chacon at second and Robinson on first with 2 down. Stretch in the pause by Coates. The pitch to Post. Inside as Post leans back from that one. The count now is 1-1. Post steps outside the batter's box, runs the hands along the side of his pants, and now he steps back in. One of the Reds' power hitters this past season had 20 home runs and 57 RBIs with a thumping .294 batting average. We have received further word about Whitey Ford, and the injury occurred not with a pitch, according to the report which has just come up now, but when Whitey was at the plate. You may recall that the ball was fouled by Whitey while he was up there, and it went down and hit him on the foot. I recounted that he limped just briefly and stepped back in the batter's box. Apparently, when it came down, it caused him sufficient pain that he couldn't stand too well up there on the mound, and this is the listed reason right now. Post swings. There's a fly ball going out to right center field. Maris is moving for it, and he's got it. So, in the bottom half of the 6th inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and there are 2 left on base. And the score at the end of 6 innings of play remains the Yankees 4 and the Reds nothing. Well, that means that Ford's scoreless streak remains intact, and Whitey will take it into his next outing in a World Series, whenever that happens to be. With 32 scoreless innings having been rung up by the Yankee left-hander. Now, as we move into the 7th inning of the ball game, it's Richardson, Kubek, and Maris coming up for the New York Yankees to face Jim Brosnan. And the right-hander now taking his warm-up pitches. The totals at the end of 6 full innings: New York, 4 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. And Cincinnati, no runs, 4 hits, and no errors. The leadoff batter for the New York Yankees is Bobby Richardson, who this afternoon has kept up his torrid World Series thumping with 2 more base hits in 3 times at the plate, a double and a single. Richardson, who seems to really spring to life come October in World Series play, has had a total now of 7 hits in this World Series, and that paces the hits for any individual batter. So Richardson now steps in to lead off this 7th inning. Brosnan takes the windup. Here's the first pitch to Bobby. He attempts a bunt and misses for strike 1. Strike 1 to Richardson. Tony Kubek is on deck. There's the windup now by Brosnan. The right-hander's next pitch is wide, and the count now is 1-1. Brosnan starts the next windup. The 1-1 pitch to Richardson comes in low. Count now is 2 balls, strike 1. Brosnan relies to a great extent on his slider pitch. He is an excellent slider. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Richardson. And there's a liner going into left center field. After it is Pinson, after it is Post. Neither can get it. The ball is followed by Pinson as he plays it on the hop. Going into second base is Richardson. A wild throw comes in over the head of the second baseman Chacon, but it's backed up by Coleman. And it's scored as a single for Richardson. And an error by Pinson. So there's a man on second. Richardson on second base, and the batter is Tony Kubek. Kubek is 1 for 3. The pitch inside for a ball. Ball 1 to Tony Kubek. Richardson on second. The pitch swung on. There's a fly ball going out to left field. Post comes in, shielding his eyes from the sun. Makes the catch in short left. Kubek, out number 1. Richardson is on second. And the batter now is Roger Maris, who is 0 for 2 and has walked. Richardson has had 8 hits in 16 at-bats. And Maris is being given an intentional walk, which will put him on first base with Richardson on second. 1 away, and will bring up Hector Lopez. That error, by the way, was the first committed by the Reds in this series, as the ball was hit by Richardson into left center, and Pinson tried to hustle on the retreat, moving to his right, bobbled the ball as it hopped up, rolled a few feet away. Richardson took advantage of that, miscued to move into second. So Maris now jogs to first base with the intentional walk. And the batter is Hector Lopez, who looked at a called strike 3. In inning number 6, he comes up with runners on first and second, 1 out. Score of the ball game is 4-0 New York. Lopez, a right-handed batter, steps in. The pitch is low and away, and the count now is ball 1 to Lopez. Lopez wipes the hands along the side of his pants, now is back in waiting. There are 2 runners on, there's 1 out. Infield double play depth for the Reds. The pitch is a wild one going right by Johnson. There's Richardson moving to third. On to second base goes Maris, and it's a wild pitch. So ruled by the official score as both Yankee runners have moved into scoring position. Richardson on third. Maris is on second. Reds keeping the bullpen busy. Warming up is Bill Henry, left-hander, as Lopez now steps back into the batter's box. The count now is ball 2. Richardson on third. Maris is on second. There's 1 away. We're in the top of the 7th inning. And now the Reds draw the infield in tight as Boston looks in to get the sign from Johnson. Right-hander takes a look toward third. Now starts the windup. Here's the pitch. Lopez swings and misses. The ball pops in and out of Johnson's mitt. Count now is ball 2, strike 1 to Hector Lopez. Score is 4-0. The Yankees lead. They're threatening to add to their total. Infield is drawn tight. We're in the top of the 7th. Here's the next pitch to Lopez. He swings and lashes a line shot to center field for a base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes a second on the way. And on to second base goes Lopez as the throw comes in late to home plate. Pinson threw late to home plate as Lopez, with a line shot to short center field, drives in 2 runs, scoring Richardson, scoring Maris, and Lopez gets credit for a single, moved on to second on the throw-in. So the Yankees now lead 6-0, and the batter is Elston Howard, who is 1 for 3. Lopez on second base. The first pitch, a called strike to Howard on the outside corner. Howard doubled to right center last time up, and then came around to score. Strike 1 the count to Howard. Here's the next pitch, and there's a ground ball which is foul outside of third, picked up by Freese there. He gets the ball back to the mound, and the ball is short of Brosnan, rolls along the ground, where Wally Moses goes over to pick it up along the first base line. Flips it over to the first base umpire, Ed Runge, for inspection, and Runge tosses this ball out of the game. Strike 2 to Elston Howard. Lopez on second base. He took the place of Mantle as a pinch runner in the fourth inning. Ready for that two-strike pitch now. Here it comes. And there's a foul off to the box seat barrier on the right field side. Skipping off the barrier over to Gordy Coleman. Again, it's inspected by Ed Runge. And again, the baseball is thrown out of play. Howard steps back in. Count strike two. Lopez on second base. The pitch swung on and missed. And Howard is out on a strikeout. That's out number two. And the batter now coming up is Yogi Berra, who is 0 for 2 and has drawn an intentional walk. Left-handed batter facing the right-handed Jim Brosnan. Score, Yankees 6, the Reds nothing. Yankees have 10 hits, and the Reds have had 4. And Yogi Berra once again will be given an intentional walk. This is the second time that he's been accorded this treatment, and that will bring up Bill Skowron, who last time met the challenge with a top ball on the third base line for an infield hit. This loaded the bases, and Boyer then proceeded to drive in 2 runs with a double to left. So Berra gets the intentional walk, and that brings up Skowron, who has had a perfect afternoon with a walk, a single to right, and his infield hit. Lopez, the runner on second. Berra is the runner on first. The Yankees in this inning have had 2 runs come across the plate. They lead by a 6-0 score as Skowron steps in. They're 2 away. The pitch to Bill is wide for ball 1. Ball 1 to Bill Skowron. He's hitting 7th in the New York Yankee batting order. Brosnan gets the sign from Johnson. Stretch in the pause by Brosnan. The pitch swung on, and there's a ground foul going over toward the left. Picked up by young Jerry Zimmerman, who's warming up Henry down there in the bullpen. 1-1, the count to Bill Skowron. Now we're all set to work. The next pitch swung on. There's a line shot into center field. Coming in to score is Lopez. There's a throw to third. Berra makes the head first dive, and he is out. Yogi Berra is out of third base on the throw from Pinson to Freeze to retire the side. On the play, however, of course, the run does score as Lopez came in to score. That ball instantly that was hit hard was hit off Brosnan, just deflected slightly as it rammed into center field. So in this inning, 3 runs, and the Yankees lead at the end of 6 1/2. The Yankees 7, the Reds nothing.
Paper-mate credit card contest winners now leaving for London, Paris, and other world-famous cities.
How would you like to fly anywhere, stay anywhere, dine anywhere, and just sign for it? Never get a bill. Well, the world is yours if you win the Papermate $50,000 credit card contest. You'll fly the finest on TWA Superjets, and just sign for it using your TWA Air Travel Card. You'll stay at luxury hotels like the Royal Hawaiian in Honolulu, dine at famous restaurants in Paris or Rome, and just sign for it using your Diners Club card. You'll have a car when you want it with your Hertz Rent-A-Car card. Gas when you need it with your Shell credit card. When it's time to pay, just pull out your Papermate pen and sign for it. Never get a bill. Grand prize is $10,000 in credit or cash, 500 other prizes. Get entry blanks and full contest details now wherever Papermate pens are sold.
Well, in the top of this inning, 3 runs for New York on 3 hits. There was an error and a man left on base as Pinson's throw to Freeze got Berra trying to reach third as Yogi made a head-first dive. It was just a bit short and late. Now Freeze swings and misses, strike 1, as Jim Coates' first pitch comes in on the inside corner, a fastball. Bill Skowron, by the way, has had a perfect afternoon. He got credit for an RBI as Lopez scored run number 3 in the 7th on Skowron's 3rd hit, plus a walk. The pitch to Freeze swung on. He lifts a high fly ball to short left. Berra is there, waiting, and Yogi has it. So Freeze is out number 1 in the bottom half of the 7th. And the batter now is Gordy Coleman, who was grounded out twice. Twice the Reds decided to walk Berra to get to Skowron, and twice Skowron came up with base hits. This last one in the top of the inning drove in a run. However, this is by way of turnabout, because 3 times the Yankees have given the Reds intentional walks, and 3 times the Reds have come through with hits. Coleman swings, sends a pop-up to very short right. Back goes Richardson. In comes Lopez. Lopez calls, and he has it. And the ball almost fell out of his mitt. He caught it right down near the heel, and it balanced precariously there for just a moment. So Coleman is out number 2, and now we move into the pinch hitting ranks as Gus Bell comes up to bat for Darrell Johnson. Bell, a left-handed batter, steps up with 2 away in the bottom half of the 7th. Gus Bell in and waiting. Here comes the pitch. Swung on. It's a ground ball going out to Richardson. Bobby takes it. They throw to first, and the side retired. So in the bottom half, inning number 7, the Reds are down in order. And the score at the end of 7 innings of play. New York 7, the Reds nothing. Well, we've seen some long-distance hitting in this series, and there are plenty of boys that can do it. Maris, Mantle, Freeze, Robinson, the list goes on and on. You know, 1961 was a big year for power hitters. And by the way, it was also a big year for the Power Spray deodorant. Gillette introduced it, called Right Guard, and it really caught on with you fans. Right now, it's the fastest-growing men's deodorant of all. That's no surprise either, because it's a big improvement over other men's deodorants. Right Guard is the push-button power spray. Just 2 seconds give you 24-hour protection. No more messy creams, scummy roll-ons, or hit-and-miss squeeze bottle sprays. Right Guard's power spray gets right through for complete coverage. Dries on contact, stops odor. Sound fast and convenient? It sure is. Try cool, refreshing Right Guard yourself in regular size for 89 cents, or now in the new money-saving king size for only $1. That king size really gives you a lot for your money. Jerry Zimmerman now moves in to take up the catching duties. Making his first appearance behind the plate, Jim Brosnan is on the mound. He's listed as the first man up in the bottom half of the inning. And we're all set to go now as Boyer leads off for the Yankees in the 8th inning. The pitch is swung on, and there's a high foul back to the screen. Going forward to Zimmerman, but he can't get it. It's on the screen and out of play. And the count is strike 1 to Boyer, who doubled across 2 runs in his last appearance. He has 1 for 3 in this game. The Yankees have a total of 11 hits, with Bobby Richardson having had 3 hits this afternoon, and Bill Skowron also coming up with 3 hits today. Here's the pitch. Boyer swings and misses, and the count now is strike 2. Richardson's had 3, and Skowron 3 to pace the New York Yankee hitters. Kubek from the hit column, both Mantle and Lopez, Elston Howard, and Clete Boyer, who is up there now. The pitch to Boyer comes in wide. Ball 1, strike 2 to Boyer. The Yankees hit safely in all innings except the first 2 against Jim O'Toole, as he got the first 6 men in a row. Here's the pitch, and there's a ball going out to left center field. Pinson is moving to his right. He's there. He's got it. So Boyer is out on a flyout to the center fielder. And coming up now is the pitcher, Jim Coates. He relieved Whitey Ford, who went out due to injury in the 6th inning. Whitey hit a ball off his foot, a foul ball, and had to leave the game because of that reason. He tried to pitch the next inning, but apparently was experiencing difficulty out there on the pitching mound, and was relieved by Coates, who fouls the first pitch back for strike 1. Here's the next pitch coming in wide. The count now is 1-1. To Jim Coates, the New York Yankee. Pitcher up there at the plate. One away, we're in the top of the 8th. The score of the ball game. The Yankees lead by a 7-0 score. Brosnan pitches, and there's a dribbler going foul along the first base line. Catcher Zimmerman goes over to pick it up. As Coates steps outside the batter's box for a moment with the count ball 1 and strike 2. Brosnan on the mound. He came on during the 6th inning. Now we're all set to go. Brosnan came on actually to start the 6th. The pitch is low and away, and the count now is 2-2. Coates be followed by Bobby Richardson, whose hits are mounting in this series. Ready now for the 2-2 pitch. Inside and high, and the count now is 3-2 to Jim Coates. Ready for that 3-2 pitch. Brosnan is a fairly quick worker. Here's the windup on the 3-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, and Coates is out on a strikeout. So they're 2 down on the top of the 8th inning. Coates goes back to the bench, and here is Bobby Richardson, who for the second time in the series has had 3 hits in one game. Bobby has 3 for 4 this afternoon, and he has been having another big World Series. All set to go. The pitch to Richardson is over for a called strike.
The Reds charter number 2 for officials and press.
Strike 1 to Bobby Richardson.
1 p.m.
Brosnan's next pitch, a changeup, and there's a line drive, a leap by Chacon, and he's got it. Elio Chacon went leaping up in the air as he raced to his right and back, made a leaping catch to take that ball on a great defensive play and retire the side. So on the top of the 8th, there are 3 up and 3 down. And the score at the end of 7.5 innings, the Yankees 7 and the Reds nothing. Well, coming up this inning, in all probability, a pinch hitter for the pitcher, then Chacon and Eddie Casco. You know, Eddie was one of the first guys to try that Gillette Super Blue Blade. And believe me, it didn't take him long to pass the good news along. Eddie says, shaving comfort like this is something you just gotta talk about. Let me tell you, fans, once you try the Gillette Super Blue Blade, the clean, easy shaves, the downright comfortable shaves you get, will start you talking. This blade is the result of years and years of research. The remarkable new edges made by an exclusive process have been called a scientific breakthrough. What it means to you is shaving speed and ease that is almost unbelievable. You simply have to try it to know what I mean. If you act now, you can take advantage of Gillette's World Series special. You get the Gillette Adjustable with a supply of Super Blue Blades, plus a free pocketbook World Series encyclopedia. All for $1.95, the price of the razor set alone. Or you can get Super Blue Blades in dispensers of 10 for 69 cents, 15 for $1. We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Are you mixing with the best? Saratoga Vichy with the yellow label. It outsells all the rest. The genuine Vichy with the yellow label.
Tastes better tonight.
Feel better tomorrow. Saratoga with the yellow label.
Enjoying the game? You'll enjoy it more with Saratoga Vichy. Make sure you're mixing with the best. Saratoga Vichy, WGY, WGFM, Schenectady.
Jerry Lynch pinch hits for Brosnan, takes a called strike 1. Coates winds, here's the next pitch, and it's wide for a ball. 1-1. What a pinch hitting record Lynch had this past season. In 59 games, he was up 47 times as a pinch hitter with 19 hits for a .404 pinch hitting average and 5 pinch hit home runs, 25 RBIs as a pinch hitter. He swings and sends a foul off to the right. Count now is ball 1, strike 2 to Lynch. Pinch hitting for Brosnan, be followed by Chacon and Casco. As the bottom half of the 8th inning, the score, the Yankees 7 and the Reds nothing. The Reds have had 4 hits, and they have all been singles. And Darrell Johnson has had 2 of the 4. All set to go as Coates Wines, here's the pitch on the way, and Lynch swings and misses, and he's out on a strikeout. So there's one out in the bottom half of inning number 8. And the batter now is Elio Chacon, who has 1 for 3. Bill Henry, again, is warming up for Cincinnati, as Chacon gets a nice hand as he comes up. Made a fine fielding play, robbing Bobby Richardson of a base hit in the top of the 8th. Elio has proved to be a standout so far in the series. Here's the pitch, and there's a pop-up to the right side of the infield. Richardson is going back, shielding his eyes from the sun, waiting, and has it. So turnabout there is fair play as one goes out to the other, both in this 8th inning. And with 2 down, the batter is Eddie Casco. Casco has 1 for 3, fly to right his first time up, then he singled to left, and his last time up he flied out to left field. Casco steps in, Coates all set to work. Here's the windup, and the pitch on the way is inside for a ball. Incidentally, Whitey Ford went the 5 required innings to receive credit for this victory. If, of course, the Reds do not rally and the Yankees hold on to go out on top. There's a ground ball foul off the bat of Casco, just a couple of feet outside the bag. Going out to the bullpen to Henry. On the count now is 1-1 to Eddie Casco. 2 away in the bottom half of the 8th. Jim Coates came in with Chacon on first base in the 6th and nobody out, relieving Ford. Since that time, only one man has been on base, Robinson, who has been hit by a pitch. Count now is 1-1. Casco waits. Here's the pitch on the way. It's swung on. It's a ground ball, and it's taken by Kubek with a great play. Throw to first, fully out. Tony Kubek, we're moving towards second base, reached over, came up with the ball, whipped Casco out to retire the side. Bottom half of the 8th inning, there are 3 up and 3 down. The score at the end of 8. New York 7, the Reds nothing.
Wally Moon is going to get it. Moon is under, and that's it. The Dodgers are the champions of the world.
Who finished all 4 games for the Dodgers in the 59 series? Larry Sherry. Listen to the climax of his amazing performance.
Sherry throws. Fly ball, left center. This might be it. Backing off as a shortstop. Wally Moon is going to get it. Moon is under, and that's it. The Dodgers are the champions of the world.
A World Series highlight we'll remember for a long time. And you can find it, plus many, many others, in the new Gillette World Series Encyclopedia. This 256-page book is packed with interesting baseball lore, records of every player, cartoons by Willard Mullen, practically every World Series fact and figure. It's all yours free when you buy the Gillette Adjustable Razor Set at the regular price of $1.95. Get your Gillette World Series Encyclopedia and enjoy the series more.
Here now is the 9th inning. Bob Wolf reporting along with Wade Hoyt here in Cincinnati, where the Yankees have moved out in front by a score of 7-0 with 11 hits to 4 for the Reds. The Yankees scored 1 run in the 4th inning. That scored on a double play ball as Maris moved to third base on Mantle's single to left center field, and then on Howard's double play, Maris came in to score. That was the hit that Mantle made before going out for a pinch runner. Mickey is able to swing all right, but had difficulty in running and apparently was in some pain, so he was replaced at that point. And the Yankees since then have gone on to add a single run in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 3 in the 7th. Bill Henry on the mound now, left-hander, facing Tony Kubek. The pitch is over for a called strike 1. Henry is the 3rd Reds pitcher. Followed O'Toole started. Brosnan came on in the 6th. Tony Kubek has 1 for 4. He singled across a run in the 5th by driving one to right center field. Henry winds, the pitch on the way, swung on and fouled off to our left. Count now is strike 2. The Yankees' 2nd run was brought across by Tony Kubek. Boyer drove across 2 more with his 2-base hit in the 6th. And in the 7th, Lopez brought in 2 with a base hit to the middle. And Skowron added 1 more with another base hit right through the middle. Count is now strike 2 to Kubek, who swings and misses. The ball ticked right into Zimmerman's mitt. And Kubek is out on a strikeout. Zimmerman held on to it on the strikeout. That brings up Roger Maris, who this afternoon has walked twice, once intentionally. First time up, he fouled out. And in the fifth inning, he flied out to right field. Maris so far has one hit in the series, but what a big hit it was. It won the game yesterday for the New York Yankees. So with Maris, it's been all or nothing at all. And his all yesterday proved to be the big run. Here's the first pitch to Maris. He swings and misses, strike one. Bill Henry on the mound this past year had 2 victories and 1 defeat with a 2.04 earned run average. 33 years old. Comes from Texas, 6'2", 180 pounds. A left-hander. The pitch coming up to Maris. Swung on and missed as Roger went for one that time, which was on the inside corner, just about shoulder high. Count now, strike 2 to Maris. Hector Lopez is on deck. Score of the ball game, 7-0. The Yankees are leading. We're in the top of the ninth. The New York Yankees at bat, and there's one away. Ready for the 2-strike pitch coming up to Maris. Here it is. A curve is wide of the plate, and the count now is ball 1, strike 2. Henry, a very quiet fellow, nicknamed Gabby, as you might expect by his teammates. Count is ball 1, strike 2. Here's the pitch, and it is swung on and missed. Maris out on a strikeout as Henry moves in with 2 quick strikeouts here in this 9th inning. For the New York Yankees, Sheldon. Roland Sheldon is now limbering up his arm in the bullpen as Lopez steps up with 2 outs in the 9th. Lopez drilled the ball to center in the 7th, driving across 2. And the pitch is wide, ball 1 to Lopez. Lopez took the place of Mantle as a pinch runner, but moved over to play in the right field spot with Maris going to center field. Ball 1, the count to Hector Lopez. The pitch swung on as a high fly going to straightaway center field. Pinson goes back, turns, waits, and is there for the put out to retire the side. So on the top of the 9th inning, the Yankees are down in order. And the score at the end of 8.5 innings of play remains New York 7 and the Reds nothing. You know, they tell me over 75 million fans are following today's game in cars, homes, offices, on trains, beaches, and boats. When you tell that many people about a deal like this year's Gillette World Series special, well, the supply won't last long. So get a free Gillette World Series encyclopedia with the purchase of the Gillette adjustable razor set at the regular price of $1.95. This handy book is a Gillette Pocket Edition containing the complete text of the new $5 World Series encyclopedia. 256 pages with line scores and highlights of every game, lifetime statistics of every player, series all-time marks, including batting and pitching records, even the 1961 rosters of every club. And it comes free with the Gillette adjustable razor set. The adjustable is the razor you set to match your own combination of skin and beard. It comes complete with travel case and a dispenser of those new Super Blue Blades. So better hurry, get your free Gillette World Series encyclopedia with razor set for only $1.95. Tomorrow, Joey J. against Ralph Terry. But the Reds want to postpone tomorrow as long as they can. And here's Vada Pinson swinging at the first pitch and sending a pop-up to the right side of the infield. Skowron is there, takes it for the out. Pinson popping up to Bill Skowron on the edge of the infield dirt. As the Reds face a tremendous task here in the bottom half of the ninth with 1 out, trailing by a score of 7-0. And Frank Robinson now coming up. Frank is 0 for 1 in this game. He has been hit by a pitch twice. And he steps in to face Jim Coates. The pitch, a fastball inside and high. It's ball 1. While Whitey Ford was on the mound in his 5 complete innings, he gave up just 4 hits. Coates has not been hit in relief since he came on the scene. Here's the next pitch, and it comes in high. Ball 2. After the first few games of the series, the Reds' attitude was that they were not concerned about their pitching, nor about their defense, but they were concerned about their hitting against the Yankee pitching. And so far, the Yankee pitching has been so superb that the Reds have not done much in that hitting column at all. 4 hits, no runs at this point. Robinson waits. The ball 2 pitch comes in low. Ball 3. Since Coates came in relief, there's been one man on base against him, and that was Robinson in the 6th inning when he was hit by a pitch. And now the count has gone to ball 3 to Robinson. As Coates goes into the windup, comes in with a pitch, and he is low for ball 4 as Robinson, for the 3rd time this afternoon, becomes a base runner. And that brings to the plate Wally Post, and there's the sign down into the New York Yankee bullpen. To start warming up a Yankee right-hander. And we see left-handers emerging as well as old reliable Louis Arroyo now steps up there. Wally Post swings and misses, strike 1. And there'll be 2 left-handers coming up. Louis Arroyo and Bud Daly are now warming up. Strike 1, the count to Wally Post, who is 0 for 3. The pitch. Post swings. There's a base hit to left field in the hole between Kubek and Boyer. Fielded by Berra. Robinson moves to second base as Wally Post has his first hit of the afternoon. And the Red fans who were waiting for something to cheer about in the offensive department this afternoon now start stirring here in the bottom half of the 9th. The batter, Gene Freese, who has flied out 3 times. He'll be followed by Gordy Coleman. And that is the first hit of Jim Coates, who up to this point has pitched very tight relief ball. Wally Post with a single slashed in between 3rd and short. Arroyo and Daly both warming up for the Yankees. Freese the batter, and the pitch is inside and low for a ball. Freese has been given a demonstration during this ball game of long ball hitting, but unfortunately for the Red fans, his long drives have been all foul outside the left field line. 3 flyouts. Count is ball 1 to Freese. The pitch is a strike call in the inside corner. The count now is 1-1. Score of the ball game: New York 7, Cincinnati nothing. We're in the bottom half of inning number 9, the bottom of the 9th. The Reds have runners on first and second, 1 away. And the batter is Gene Freese. Count now is 1-1. Coates steps back off the mound as time is called at the plate by Freese, who stepped out. Augie Donatelli calling time. And now Freese tugs at the peak of his cap and now steps back in. Time still called by Augie Donatelli. And now the second base umpire, Jocko Conlon, takes a look at the ball and throws it out of play as the new ball goes out to Coates at the mound. All the hits in this game for the Reds have been singles, with Post on with single number 5, Robinson on second by virtue of his walk, moving up on the base hit. There's 1 out. The Yankees infield double play depth. Score of the ball game 7-0. New York leads Cincinnati. Freese waits. The 1-1 pitch swung on and missed. It was a fastball which came in just below the shoulders in the inside corner. On the count now is ball 1, strike 2 to Gene Freese. Score 7-0. The Yankees lead in this 4th game. And if the Yankees take this one, and they're edging toward that possibility, that's for sure, in the bottom of the 9th, unless the Reds come up with a tremendous rally, the Yankees will hold a 3-1 lead, putting it squarely up to Joey J tomorrow as he goes against Ralph Terry. Count now is ball 1, strike 2 to Freese. Stretch in the pause by Coates. A look back toward Robinson. The pitch. Freese swings and misses. He's out on a strikeout. And now the Reds do have their backs squarely pressed against the wall with 2 down 2 on in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Gordy Coleman is coming up. Coleman, who is 0 for 3, is grounded out twice. He is flied out once. He steps up. Meanwhile, the 2 Yankee dependable left-handers, Arroyo and Daly, are still warming up just in case. But Coates bearing down with every pitch. Now here's Coleman. All set to go. The pitch is high for a ball. Ball 1, the count to Gordy Coleman. Left-handed batter who can hit that long ball. Hit and waiting. Coates takes a look back toward second. Here's the pitch. Coleman swings and misses, and he tried to stop that swing, but just couldn't do it. As he went around, and Augie Donatelli says it's a strike, and the count now is 1-1. Johnny Edwards is moved hopefully on deck for Cincinnati. Coates all set to work, delivers, and there's a high fly ball to right field. Lopez jogs in, he waits for it. He's got it. And there's the ball game. In the bottom half of the 9th inning, there were no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 are left on base. And the totals of the ball game: New York, 7 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. And Cincinnati, no runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. In a moment, we'll review the highlights of this game, but right now, let's pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Are you mixing with the best? Saratoga Vichy with the yellow label, it outsells all the rest. The genuine Vichy with the yellow label
tastes better tonight,
feel better tomorrow. Saratoga with the yellow label.
Hope you've enjoyed the game. Know you'll enjoy Saratoga Vichy. Make sure you're mixing with the best. Saratoga Vichy, WGY, WGFM, Schenectady.
The Yankees now lead 3 games to 1 in the World Series. And here to tell you about the highlights of our game this afternoon, it's Wade Hoyt. Wade?
Well, I would say the story of today's ball game lies very deeply in the pitching of the New York Yankee pitchers Whitey Ford and Jim Coates, supported very ably by clutch hitting by the New York Yankee batters. There was not a home run in today's ball game, although this is a small ballpark, and there were no home runs whatsoever. The game went very well at the beginning for both teams, and it wasn't until the 4th inning that the Yankees scored their first run. As a matter of fact, with O'Toole pitching early in the ball game, it was a very even contest between Ford and O'Toole, and O'Toole was sailing along. And strangely, the Yankees' first run, while it was scored in a normal way, yet it was scored while a double play was being executed. When Maris walked and Mantle singled to left center, Maris went to third and scored as Howard hit into a DP. And then the Yankees came back in the 5th inning, and this became the first of the pitching, I would say, deficiencies of the Cincinnati pitchers, as after 2 out in the 5th inning and no one on base, O'Toole made the mistake of walking his rival pitcher Whitey Ford, and then Richardson singled, and Kubek with 2 strikes on him, single to right center, scoring Ford, and the Yankees were ahead 2-0. And in the meanwhile, one of the great stories of all time in World Series history was unfolding itself, as when Whitey Ford completed the 3rd inning of pitching here today and shut out the Cincinnati Reds in the first 3 innings, he set the World Series pitching record of 30 consecutive innings allowing no runs. And that broke the record once held by Babe Ruth, who had pitched 29 2/3 innings in a combination of World Series of 1916 and 1918. In 1916, Babe Ruth pitched 13 scoreless innings, consecutive scoreless innings against the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then in 1918 against the Chicago Cubs, he added 16 2/3 more, completing a cycle of 29 2/3 innings. Whitey Ford last season in the World Series against Pittsburgh on October the 8th, a year ago just about a year ago, shut out the Pittsburgh Pirates 10-0, and then 4 days later, on October the 12th, he shut out the Pirates 12-0. And so he completed the cycle now as he pitched 5 innings of today's ball game. No one out in the 6th inning when he was forced to retire because of an injury. And he had completed a cycle of 32 consecutive scoreless innings, which goes down in the record book as a new pitching mark for Whitey Ford. That establishes 2 records for Whitey Ford in this one series alone. Most World Series pitched in and most consecutive scoreless innings in World Series play. And then in the 6th inning, the Yankees added 2 more runs. Brosnan came in the pitch after Gurnett batted for O'Toole. And then in the 6th inning, Brosnan took over, and the New York Yankees added 2 runs on 3 hits. And then in the 7th inning, they added 3 runs on 3 hits, coupled with a Cincinnati error. And when the 7th inning was over, the New York Yankees had 7 runs, 11 hits, 6 men left on base, and that was their wind-up. In the ball game today, the Yankees 7 runs, 11 hits. The Yankees today scored more runs than any single team in this series, and they had more hits than any single team has made in one game in this series, with 7 runs and 11 hits. The Reds were shut out for the 2nd time in this series. The succeeding pitcher, relief pitcher, Jim Coates, who took over from Whitey Ford when Whitey Ford was forced to retire in the 6th inning, pitched the final 4 innings and held the Reds to 1 hit in the final 4 innings and did a tremendous and marvelous relief job. And so the Reds wound up with no runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. Jim O'Toole was that unfortunate as to oppose Whitey Ford in another one of these shutout efforts, and O'Toole has now won none and lost 2. Whitey Ford has won 2 and lost none. The time of the game was 2 hours and 27 minutes. There were 32,589 paid admissions here today, the exact total of yesterday. Richardson was again the big hitter for the Yankees with 2 singles and a double. Quebec a single. Maris was shut out today in 2 official trips at the plate, although he walked twice. Mickey Mantle had 1 out of 2. Elston had a double out of 4 trips. Berra was walked twice, but he went to the plate twice with no hits. Bill Skowron had 3 singles and a base on ball, so he had a perfect day at the plate. Ken Boyer had a double and batted in 2 runs. Down in the pitcher spot, there were no hits. The 5 hits made by the Cincinnati Reds, 1 by Chacon, 1 by Casco, 1 by Post, and 2 by Darrell Johnson. I did want to add an odd note here today that 3 times the Reds pitchers walked 3 Yankee batters to get at the succeeding batter, and 3 times that succeeding batter hit safely. And that matches exactly the totals of the Yankee pitchers who in the previous games to today had walked 3 Cincinnati batters to get at succeeding hitters, and 3 Cincinnati batters came through with 3 hits. So in that regard, they have been exactly even. Well, so once again the totals. Today, the New York Yankees, 7 runs, 11 hits, no errors. The Reds, no runs, 5 hits, 1 error. The Reds have a task ahead of them now. They must win 3 straight games, concluding the series if they are to win the World Series, and that would encompass also a very probable defeat. They'd have to defeat Whitey Ford if it went to 7 games, which it would have to go for the Reds to win it. So I don't know. This is a tough task facing the Cincinnati Reds now. Our engineer today was Harry Alexander. Our producer was Lenny Dillon. And now this is Wade Hoyt speaking for Bob Wolf, inviting you to be sure to tune in tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time for the 5th game of this exciting 1961 World Series. Brought to you by the Chrysler Corporation and the Gillette Safety Razor Company. This has been an NBC Radio Network production.